Takumi Fujimura reflects after 35 years of labor, exhausted hands trembling in silence. Now, industrial techniques transform materials, as Takumi crafts impossible devices using humble factory knowledge wisdom. Society recognizes artisans elevating craftsmen, while Takumi's reputation spreads across the town, rapidly grows. Fujimura manufacturing operates efficiently, as Takumi and staff expand production and workshop daily progress. Takumi leads future innovations, leaving past struggles behind while building new world standards forward. Takumi Fujimura, aged craftsman, struggles under tight deadline, rejecting impossible manufacturing request calmly firmly. A suited executive insults Takumi, claiming alternatives exist and experience is unnecessary now completely. Businessman leans forward, warning Takumi Fujimura, while asserting superiority during tense confrontation situation escalates. Executive declares era changed, saying skilled artisans are useless against large corporations' dominance, absolute. Takumi Fujimura is grabbed aggressively, yet he remains calm and unyielding inside workshop scene. Takumi Fujimura rejects pressure from executives inside workshop, while defending his craftsmanship and pride in executive insults. Takumi Fujimura enforces him out, claiming artisans are unnecessary now. Financial collapse follows as Takumi loses stability and time passes toward career ending. Takumi Fujimura's trembling hand shows uncertainty as he considers future work possibilities alone remaining uncertain. Takumi Fujimura accepts resignation, realizing this world remains only place he has known entirely. Fujimura Manufacturing continued operating, while Takumi Fujimura poured drink, reflecting quietly alone tonight silently. Workers gained experience inside factory, learning skills as production improved through harsh training, daily independence. Arrived team stood proudly. Fujimura Manufacturing workers gathered smiling after success together today. Takumi Fujimura reflected on life, accepting age 70, believing work was well done quietly. Finally. Final moment came. Takumi collapsed, slightly regretting only one attempt at world left behind. Takumi Fujimura collapses on street, ending life after exhausting work as craftsman, finally alone. He awakens in another world, staring at vast landscapes and strange floating cities beyond. Takumi Fujimura sits quietly in grass, observing kingdom below mountains and drifting clouds silently. He studies surroundings, realizing this unfamiliar world offers opportunities for new craftsmanship growth. Now, Takumi Fujimura accepts fate calmly, deciding to live again, building new future forward quietly. Takumi Fujimura discovers Maikugan ability inside workshop and begins observing strange crafting potential. Frau arrives near Fujimura Manufacturing workshop, noticing unusual activity and examines surroundings. Cautiously, Frau trains in grassy field cutting wood, while Takumi observes her raw potential quietly. She continues training, exhausted but determined, swinging blade as Takumi silently evaluates her progress. Frau Healer appears, revealing identity and role within group, while Takumi acknowledges new companion path ahead. Frau swings blade against monster arm, while Takumi observes carefully from distance nearby. Now, aftermath reveals injured creature. Frau inspects prosthetic arm outcome, with shocked expression immediately seen. Encounter begins as Takumi Fujimura approaches, asking location while Frau responds cautiously nearby. Now, Takumi requests explanation, urging listener to understand his situation and forgotten craftsmanship pride here. Frau questions identity, calling him old coot, while Takumi demonstrates staff technique calmly. Now, Takumi Fujimura fits prosthetic arm components onto Frau, ensuring proper size and function carefully inside workshop. Frau wears the prosthetic comfortably, while Takumi observes, adjusting craftsmanship style to match user preference. Frau expresses disbelief, comparing world to dream, while seeing castle landscape representing unfamiliar European fantasy realm. Takumi explains casually, presenting crafted tool upgrade, while Frau and companion observe his idle tinkering skill. Frau receives improved gear and responds cautiously as Takumi encourages testing equipment sized properly. Now, Frau witnesses Takumi crafting prosthetic arm, achieving seamless motion and perfect mechanical unity. Now legends reveal dwarves and apostles granting legendary arms to chosen heroes across eras past. Mythic weapons include lightning swords, staffs and shields capable of reviving fallen warriors again. Takumi Fujimura questions hero magic and Demon King revival, while processing overwhelming information. Now, Frau's dreams of becoming splendid hero holding powerful weapons, while standing confidently forward. Now, Frau explains solo adventurer life, missing arm, recently fired from party, learning sword slowly. Takumi wonders who this person has been talking about entire time, visibly confused now. Frau reacts after hearing explanation, realizing truth about dreamlike world and situation fully now. Takumi receives sudden slap shock. Frau panics immediately after striking him hard. Now here. Takumi holds cheek, complaining about pain, while Frau checks him worriedly right now still. Takumi Fujimura stands quietly realizing he has been transported into another world entirely now. Frau notices Takumi Fujimura, while confusion spreads as strangers question his identity suddenly here. Takumi Fujimura begins understanding situation slowly while Frau watches him with concern nearby now. Takumi Fujimura stands alone realizing he has arrived in an unfamiliar other world now. Calmly Takumi Fujimura accepts fate after landing in strange world beyond imagination silently now. Takumi Fujimura faces intense talk about heroes, demons, and magical items, request staff borrowing. Takumi asks to study staff, while Frau reacts confused in workshop field. Frau refuses loan as Takumi insists on examining rare staff. Conditions explained, limited time and family treasure concerns create tension. Frau emotional Takumi realizes situation seriousness and agrees to proceed cautiously. Takumi Fujimura accepts staff lending agreement while Frau smiles and guides conversation forward calmly. Frau introduces herself, while guiding Takumi toward workshop, discussing letters and local matters briefly. Warnings emerge about eyeless appearing northern mountains at night as bat-like monster threat. Massacres follow as demon bat creature devastates villages, leaving skulls and destruction across lands. Frau warns Takumi Fujimura never approach northern mountains, especially during night for safety reasons. Frau reports disturbing eyewitness accounts describing Demon King legends resurfacing across regions again recently. Elvana World explains existence of magic stones, enabling electricity, heat, light, mana channel system. Magic minerals function as triggers, powering everyday life. Combat systems, natural effects combined here. Takumi Fujimura experiments with minerals. Using Analysis Eye, while attempting gradual understanding process continues. Analysis Eye activates, revealing hidden mineral structure, unlocking unknown ability suddenly within now here. Magic crystal fractures, core radiating energy as surrounding stone pieces scatter outward violently now. Takumi examines mysterious stone closely, noticing unusual texture, while confirming magical properties carefully now. Energy erupts violently, Frau staggers backward, as stone reacts with unknown magical resonance now. Core within stone confirmed, revealing high-purity crystal structure, stabilizing world magic system. Now, magic world structure explained, core leakage system reducing original power across entire civilization. Now, challenging gummy material frustrates processing, as Takumi examines its unusual industrial properties carefully now. Experimenting with unknown mineral, Takumi analyzes properties, while smiling during intense workshop session now. Precision metalworking requires intuition, where Takumi adjusts machining steps through careful observation skills. Now, analysis reveals crystal core structure reducing world magic output through systemic leakage patterns now. Craftsmanship surpasses machines as Takumi's intuition outperforms industrial processing, with precise corrections far beyond. Rolled metal sheet rests as Takumi reflects on continuous crafting progress. Today silently now, exhausted body persists, while Takumi notices unfamiliar changes inside himself during work. Ongoing transformation, new abilities appear, body hardening and alchemist eye systems activate within Takumi's perception fully. Solo adventurer Takumi wanders field, considering poison resistance and recent dismissal calmly without hesitation. Crystals glow nearby while Takumi decides continuing craftsmanship defines his new purpose forward. Now, Takumi Fujimura observes floating cores, realizing discovery becomes world's first crafted breakthrough today now. Frau arrives morning, requesting staff return before deadline, while Takumi greets her calmly now. Inside workshop, Takumi prepares coffee, discussing repair work while listening to Frau carefully now. Metal blade slices block cleanly, demonstrating Takumi's craftsmanship as sparks fly during testing now. Forged weapon rests on table, showing precision engineering completed after intense workshop session now. Takumi demonstrates world's first magic gun crafted from core metal in workshop scene now. Frau reacts to stylish weapon, shocked by Takumi's ingenious minimal waist design immediately now. Gun barrel fusion iron. Takumi explains modification, while staff requests revert immediately now please. Swish movement cloth covering prototype, reveal excitement builds in workshop demonstration scene. Now here, magic stone harvest area, Frau proudly explains resource abundance and production capability system now. Core analysis reveals hidden structure inside magic system, surprising Takumi during observation today. Now, Takumi studies crystalline data while Frau reacts to unexpected magical readings emerging nearby now. System activates revealing analytical eye functions while Takumi processes overwhelming sensory information carefully now. Suddenly explosive reaction occurs as magical shards scatter through workshop causing intense shockwaves now. Aftermath shows workshop stabilized while Takumi evaluates damage and continues crafting without hesitation. Now, something massive appears. Everyone panics. Questioning missile strike, monster emerges suddenly in daylight now. A monstrous creature soars above rooftops, terrifying observers as daylight sky trembles violently now. Roaring beast reveals horrifying teeth, unsettling girl as daylight anomaly, confuses everyone instantly now. Creature crashes toward buildings. Residents shout urgently, while explosion shockwaves fill sky everywhere now. Hero warns evacuation immediately, stating monster threat endangers home, unless stopped quickly urgent now. Even worse, colossal queen-class demon emerges. We stand no chance against it now. Immediately, commander orders immediate retreat while monster approaches settlement. Everyone panicking, urgency escalates rapidly now. She questions agreement while watching beast close distance. Hesitation forming in silence right now. Unfazed Craftsman continues working calmly amid destruction, ignoring chaos surrounding entire area without hesitation. Towering beast crashes forward, structures shatter instantly, defenders brace desperately for impact unfolding chaos. Craftsman teaches gun handling to the young adventurer using a magic firearm safely. Healer reveals she is non-combatant and explains her support role while feeling scared. Adventurer reassures her and asks for trust while danger approaches. Nearby monster arrives. Craftsman explains his 54 years of crafting experience and weapon knowledge confidently. Demon appears. Battle begins. Craftsman teaches adventurer how to handle magic gun during approaching danger. Healer reveals fear and confirms non-combat support role as monster approaches. Adventurer urges trust while danger intensifies and creature arrives near settlement. Craftsman explains 54 years of experience and weapon crafting mastery calmly. Demon attacks settlement. Adventurer prepares weapon. Craftsman orders fire. Battle begins immediately without hesitation now. A massive explosion destroys the demon mid-charge as the craftsman fires the prototype weapon successfully. Adventurer freezes in shock while holding the newly made gun, witnessing the aftermath of destruction. The fallen beast collapses as the craftsman inspects the output stability test results calmly nearby. Craftsman explains the Bakuin Fujimura patent weapon system while analyzing its magical core mechanism. Healer reacts in fear and confusion as unstable mana output causes unexpected recoil and strain. The craftsman presents a new weapon system, claiming safe practical universal usage for adventurers. Adventurer healer hesitates, while craftsman promises to create strongest hero against demon threat emerging. Prototype weapon fires successfully, obliterating monstrous beast during field test demonstration sequence. Results confirmed. Explains invention benefits while persuading adventurer to trust experimental magical technology system design. Craftsman encourages young adventurer to continue training, offering future trials and continued support ahead. Fujimura and the healer reach a turning point, agreeing to move forward and test the crafting plan. Healer begins trusting Fujimura, deciding to follow his experiments, despite fear of unknown monsters and danger. Fujimura reveals grand weapon development strategy, aiming to change world balance against demon threats, emerging preparing world-changing confrontation against Demon King threats. Together they commit to journey ahead, preparing to reshape world through crafting and shared resolve. Takumi orders Frau to prepare healing support, while stating party aims defeating target, before it escapes becoming a class party members. Frau heals wounded child villager inside ruined area, while Takumi observes nearby assessing damage and injured companions, urgently throughout battlefield scene. Enemy mage releases destructive magic sphere attacking villagers, while Frau struggles deciding whether to heal child or defend immediately first priority. Takumi stands before armed group confronting threat protecting village ruins, while companions gather behind assessing situation carefully, without showing fear stance. After battle survivors rest in destroyed village, with Frau tending injured child, while Takumi monitors recovery progress, slowly quiet stabilization begins. Adventurers reject Takumi, ignoring wounded villager. Frau prepares support amid collapsing ruined battlefield tension rises sharply. Ruins surround Frau as she stabilizes injured child carefully, while chaos spreads across village outskirts relentlessly. Magical attack erupts violently. Takumi watches calmly, assessing threat endangering civilians, under overwhelming destructive force nearby. Inside shattered settlement, Takumi confronts nobles directly, protecting survivors, while authority figures hesitate, uncertainly under pressure. Recovery begins gradually. Frau activates crafted device restoring hope, while villagers witness rebuilding efforts across damaged land. Takumi introduces megaphone device, explaining voice amplification concept to confused villagers gathered nearby present. Frau inspects newly built device, while Takumi demonstrates electrical to sound conversion principle, carefully explained earlier. Magic stone experiment triggers massive explosion, shocking Frau and villagers standing nearby instantly happening. Frau reacts in shock after blast, questioning sudden lightning-like phenomenon across village area now. Takumi explains potential uses, including electric, wind, light, magnetic, and thermal energy applications clearly. Takumi rejects hero talk. Frau listens quietly, uncertain about their path forward ahead. Frau questions becoming hero. Takumi considers engine design for future, practical use carefully. Takumi refuses hero ambition. Frau argues healer role can still gain recognition now. Craft philosophy shared. Takumi values work satisfaction over fame, shifting Frau's understanding deeply. Journey begins. Takumi invites Frau toward town, starting cautious yet hopeful travel together. Arriving at royal capital Cadornia, Frau agrees. Takumi leads journey into bustling city ahead. Streets overflow with citizens, traders, and adventurers, moving through Cadornia's busy central district marketplace. Inside Colosseum district, workers train beasts, conduct tours, while fighters prepare under strict supervision. Guards patrol crowded streets, inspecting citizens closely while maintaining order across royal capital sectors. Takumi smiles realizing new isekai world possibilities expanding. Frau follows behind exploring unfamiliar surroundings. Frau adjusts disguise while Takumi introduces himself calmly. Meeting adventurers amid crowded town atmosphere. Frau hesitates covering injuries as Takumi notices burns. Evaluating her condition with focused concern, adventurers boast loudly about rankings and rewards, while Takumi observes their guild conversation carefully. Frau explains rural origin while Takumi reacts calmly, noticing festive energy spreading across city. Sudden dungeon emergence cracks ground, alarming citizens as Takumi assesses new threat immediately appearing. Dungeon explanation ancient labyrinth appears from past civilization, promising monsters, treasure, danger within ruins. Cities grow around dungeons, becoming trade hubs, guild centers, shaping culture, logistics networks, nationwide. Faced selection tournament begins, granting first challengers rights. Dungeon treasures belong discoverers exclusively now. Takumi observes bustling capital, learning dungeons recently appeared, while citizens prepare expedition excitement spreads. Rumors spread unknown riches deep dungeon, drawing heroes seeking fortune, danger, glory endlessly ahead. Takumi urges group to claim dungeon rewards immediately for themselves without hesitation. Rumors spread across kingdoms, increasing adventurer arrivals, and raising competition among elite parties. Guild enforces strict rules, limiting teams, causing tension among competing adventurers instantly. Takumi reveals experimental weapon, surprising guild members, while Frau watches quietly nearby scene. Whispers reveal Frau's past, creating suspicion and tension among adventurers, questioning loyalty. Whispers spread, labeling Frau traitor, former B-class adventurer fallen, now considered low-ranked embarrassment everywhere. Adventurers laugh harshly, patting group members, mocking Frau while Takumi watches without reaction calmly. Villagers misidentify figure, calling her goblin, lost kid, or strange monster species instead assumed. Takumi requests weapon test, frightening companions while experimental firearm shocks nearby observers instantly now. Takumi excitedly demands rapid-fire testing, ignoring warnings while mana crackles dangerously around him again. Encountering familiar face, Takumi observes tension rising as old rival approaches confidently here. Now Valk Donner leads a class party entering capital, crowds cheering loudly around them, present now. A class swordsman Valk greets Fralchen, while Takumi silently watches from distance. Nearby scene unfolds. Excited crowd proclaims strongest party, praising Divine Lightning team amid festival atmosphere building hype. Takumi reflects calmly, while Frau questions forming new party together again. Moving forward now, Frau gets insulted publicly. Takumi defends her identity, while confronting harsh rumors spreading around adventurers. Memories surface for Frau. Takumi listens calmly, evaluating emotional burden behind false stories told widely. Takumi says goodbye warmly, encouraging Frau's growth while dismissing judgment from others without hesitation anymore. Strangers insult Frau openly. She reacts emotionally, while Takumi ignores surrounding pressure and noise. Takumi declares appearance irrelevant, rejecting prejudice firmly while focusing on character over outward judgment. Whispers condemn Frau loudly, as Takumi observes insults spreading through gathered adventurers crowd uneasily. Despite insults, Takumi calmly evaluates Valk's words, while guiding Frau through tense confrontation moment. Guild announces selection rules, while adventurers argue over a class competition and dungeon access privileges. Warning escalates as Takumi proposes weapon testing, alarming guild members witnessing unstable mana reaction. Echoing cries of Frau reach Takumi, signaling separation while journey toward city continues onward. Colosseum crowds roar loudly, announcing Faced selection tournament commencement, exciting gathered adventurers nationwide today. Spectators cheer wildly as fighters assemble below. Guild members discuss famous competitors entering arena. Rumors spread among crowds labeling parties, mocking F-rank healer and companion before selection begins. Announcer declares tournament start, while Takumi remains calm amid shouting crowd and rising tension. Grandstands erupt, signaling Faced selection tournament begins, marking historic moment for royal capital today. Takumi is asked quickest way to defeat Demon King. He stays calm and listens carefully. He continues crafting tools while adventurers push urgency, proving craftsmanship matters over speed alone. Frau learns entry to Demon King's realm requires SS rank adventurer qualification first. Kingdom announces Solian heroes defending humanity, calling fighters to selection tournament. Many candidates step into arena, preparing for trials that decide who joins frontline battle. Crowd sensing aura. Armored man looks back. Tension spreads across arena area, silently rising. Hooded child trembles holding device, tightly sweating, heavily surrounded. Fear, overwhelming situation, unknown danger. Adventurers question healer kid, underestimated. Faced battlefield confusion spreads, while Shiden reputation questioned seriously. Armored knight staggers, massive impact. Unseen force strikes, suddenly near lion statue. Trembling ground. Ogre senses invisible strike, feels pain, suddenly turns. Confused battlefield tension rises. Hidden attackers. Shiden reacts angrily after witnessing Takumi party entering arena, questioning their disrespectful presence there. Frau trembles inside hood while watching massive knight overwhelmed by fear and confusion now. Adventurers question knights in action while observing Faced group doubting their intentions during arena situation. Announcer declares Fujimura and Frau as sacred ones, provoking crowd reaction and disbelief strongly. Party mocks Fujimura group, calling them betrayal party, while discussing Demon King threat situation. Shiden reacts angrily after witnessing disrespect toward Fujimura group in arena as tension rises among surrounding adventurers immediately intensifies further. Hooded child trembles, while armored giant confronts group, as crowd mocks them, and confusion spreads across arena. Scene tension heightens. Knights apologize after recognizing Fujimura identity, while leader acknowledges Frau, and prepares formal introduction to group, respectfully establishing trust now. Armored warriors challenge Fujimura group, proposing equal combat during selection tournament, while tension builds between opposing factions in arena. Confrontation begins. Leader Galdolf formally greets Fujimura party, acknowledging strength and accepting upcoming confrontation within Demon King selection arena. Calmly tension rises. Reminiscing quietly, townsfolk recall the fallen man as surprisingly kind overall, still lingering there. Within arena grounds, A trembling child regrets entering this harsh selection tournament entirely now. Suddenly knights notice distant movement, as massive swarm of monsters emerges violently now approaching. Alarm bells echo across fortress walls as monstrous invasion is officially declared alarming threat. Chaos unfolds below while defenders brace themselves against overwhelming monster hordes, attacking immediately now. Fujimura group listens as knights explain dungeon danger and rising monster threat calmly yet seriously. Royal defenders insist monsters will retreat, though adventurers remain uncertain about situation stability. Panic spreads after report of over 1,000 ogres approaching within 30 minutes. Adventurers doubt dungeon comparison, fear building as invasion scale becomes clear. Leader proposes reward contest, while tension rises among gathered fighters in capital. Smirking negotiator claims dungeon belongs adventurers first, demanding rule leeway during selection discussion now. Confident leader proposes combat challenge, requesting king approval, while Shiden and allies observe closely. Knights urgently report massive goblin swarm, ogres included, approaching capital within 30 minutes fast. Royal decree orders adventurers defend castle, turning selection tournament into emergency battlefield mission. Now suddenly monsters swarm appears, causing chaos, as Frau and Fujimura react in shock now. Gate opens. Selection tournament begins as Fujimura party charges forward against monsters, immediately now. Buffed abilities activate, while Shiden leads charge devouring incoming goblin swarm rapidly without hesitation. Monsters overwhelm battlefield, as Fujimura group counterattacks, slicing through hordes decisively in coordinated assault. Chaos erupts as civilians scream while monsters surge through collapsing defenses, violently everywhere now. Fujimura strikes back, unleashing force, cutting monsters apart while protecting allies in fierce motion. Monster waves explode across battlefield, while Fujimura cuts through enemies, using precise motion and momentum. Shiden engages goblins at close range, striking fast as battle chaos spreads across ruined ground. Massive ogre appears breaking formations, forcing adventurers into desperate counterattack under heavy pressure. Frau struggles while being restrained, panic rising as battlefield noise overwhelms surrounding area. Wounded expression appears as she admits uncertainty about belonging in selection tournament anymore. Collapsed girl gasps after attack, noticing body rapidly recovering from fatal injuries now instantly. Fujimura checks surroundings, while girl realizes survival wounds closing faster than expected. Here completely. Adventurer shouts warning as monster lunges behind ally striking without hesitation in chaos suddenly. Hero stares at weapon power shocked how incredible artifact cuts through monsters effortlessly now. Fujimura finally breathes after battle confirming survival of allies, while battlefield settles down calmly. Shiden and Kin clash amidst battlefield chaos, while Frau thanks healer, calmly afterward gratefully. Frau insists she cannot abandon injured people even during dangerous selection tournament events present. Kin recalls Mother Mers von Freya as strong woman protecting others selflessly always remembered. Hooded girl stands alone, believing strong kind woman would fight for others always selflessly. Memory of Mers inspires her resolve as battlefield silence settles around everyone. Now finally, Frau quietly declares she aspires to become hero surpassing Mers von Freya's legacy. Now records describe Mers von Freya as flame princess healer wielding devastating purifying flame power. Knights under Galdolf pledge protection to Frau and Fujimura during selection crisis battle. Now rumors claim Mers von Freya perished 15 years ago during Demon Tribe War incident. Ultimately Fujimura and Shiden ensure Frau safety, while continuing battle against monsters now together. Galdolf speaks calmly about protecting younger ideals, while Fujimura quietly observes his serious intent. Fujimura casually offers post-battle drinks, while Galdolf responds with humor. Despite the ongoing tension, fighting erupts again as Kin and allies clash with monsters, while Frau focuses on healing duties nearby. Galdolf comments on progress and challenges, while observing Fujimura's group continuing battle readiness without hesitation. Mysterious figure criticizes efforts and claims disappointment. While tension rises again between factions present, Fujimura strikes enemy while dismissing villain's claim, cutting through arrogance during intense confrontation. Now, enemy mocks party as weak, while Fujimura counters instantly with precise blade attack in chaos. Opponent underestimates group, but Fujimura and allies coordinate strike, reversing battlefield momentum sharply. Fujimura confesses mistake mid-fight while maintaining control, acknowledging misstep during fast combat exchange. Final clash erupts as Fujimura and partner overwhelm enemy, ending confrontation with decisive strike. Calmly Galdolf speaks about strength, weakness, society order during tense confrontation, continuing ideological debate. Fujimura clashes while opponent mocks ideals of strength and hierarchy, openly without hesitation present. Walking forward, Fujimura listens to explanation about society and future roles, carefully understanding situation. Sudden blade exchange erupts as Fujimura confronts arrogant opponent head-on, without backing down fiercely. After clash ends, Fujimura stands silently observing defeated opponent carefully. Tension slowly fades away. Departing group. Fujimura hears talk about Showa style and moral harassment criticism presently unfolding. Antagonist smirks, declaring punks get their punishment. Eyes cold and threatening overall. Now here.
Fujimura, now in another world, reflected on his freedom from workplace harassment and stress. Determined to fix injustices, he prepared to crush tyranny with his own hardened resolve. Facing a confident noble, Fujimura's stance remained calm, unshaken by the threat before him. With one hand he deflected a skilled A-class strike, shocking even the seasoned attacker's belief. Smirking, Fujimura raised his wrench, silent but firm. The girl braced herself to witness greatness. A towering mutant mantis emerged from the trees, its blades raised, shrieking at Fujimura. Fujimura calmly stepped forward, wrench in hand. "Experimentin," he said, ready to test his gear. With blinding speed, the mantis struck repeatedly, each blow blocked as sparks flew around Fujimura's stance. Smiling, he countered fiercely. His wrench crushed exoskeleton, shattering armor. His tool outmatched any magical weapon. The monster collapsed, twitching. The girl stood speechless, eyes wide at Fujimura's impossible, effortless victory. Fujimura unveiled his finished wrench, Kongo Peirin, a weapon forged precisely for destructive mechanical impact. He explained its double-core structure: one boosted strength, the other reinforced durability, keeping it lightweight. With intense focus, his special eye activated, granting enhanced perception that made time appear slower. The girl trembled, stunned by his growing power, as Fujimura casually joked about his evolving abilities. Spotting fallen allies ahead, Fujimura urged the girl only she could reach and save them now. Realizing her role, the girl sprinted ahead, determined to save the fallen before it's late. Meanwhile, Fujimura analyzed the sinister leader calmly, recognizing the man's presence as dangerous and unnerving. Suddenly, 4 enemies surrounded him in ambush. Fujimura readied himself, aware it was a 4-on-1 battle. The enemy leader mocked him, declaring the fight over, promising brutal punishment for challenging adults. Before reacting, Fujimura was grabbed mid-air. A massive warrior crushed him against the ground violently. Fujimura, bloodied and limp, was mocked as worthless. Onlookers gasped at his brutal treatment. As he lay stunned, terrified citizens screamed. Something enormous approached, shaking the ground violently. A wounded soldier looked up, frozen. The dark figure approaching filled him with raw panic. A massive foot crashed down, announcing the arrival of something far worse than expected. Enemy revealed their final weapon. The Ogre King, a monstrous tyrant of special rank. The colossal Goblin Lord appeared, towering over all, dragging a massive serrated blade behind him. Manic erupted. Soldiers fired magic flames. Villagers stared in horror as the beast raised its weapon. With one brutal swing, the Goblin Lord flattened soldiers' limbs, weapons, and earth, all thrown aside. Vulk and her allies debated options. Despite fear, they decided killing the beast secured Cicerank. Confident in numbers, they charged. The leaders grinned. Disposable fighters would soften the monster for them. The noble mocked Fujimura, offering him escape, confident the beast would be his alone. Elsewhere, wounded soldiers and mages recovered. The girl watched silently, still shaken by devastation. The Goblin Lord collapsed defeated, but the damage and bodies left behind were hard to ignore. Fujimura found the girl exhausted. She had nearly depleted her mana, holding enemies at bay. Despite fatigue, she refused to stop. Fujimura nodded, choosing to protect her with everything left. Despite her resolve, the enemy jeered cruelly, dismissing her efforts and mocking her support for others. The villain rallied his team, shouting orders to destroy everything and seize control without hesitation. As dawn broke, a horde of beasts stormed across the plain, disrupting everything in sight. Amid chaos, Shedin's strike pierced the lead beast's core, annihilation confirmed with brutal precision. Standing atop the slain behemoth, the fighters assessed damage, their teamwork evident and undeniable. Nearby, exhausted but alive, the healer girl shivered, drained after channeling magic beyond her limits. The commander praised her aid. Without her healing, many allies would have perished in battle. As the dust settled, betrayal was confirmed. Eltikoko was killed, sacrificed without hesitation or regret. A figure descended swiftly, intercepting the fallen elf's remains before the enemy claimed full victory. The dark mage inspected the corpse's remains, expressionless, disgusted by the grotesque scene left behind. Healer collapsed unconscious from exhaustion. Comrades rushed in panic, fearing she wouldn't wake again. Later, the victorious group returned home to cheering crowds. Hailed as the saviors of Roroso, crowds whispered of Shedin's strength. He defeated the legendary monster and even the Goblin Lord. The royal court gathered, rewards awaited. Shedin was expected to earn the right to Cess. Ambition filled Valk's eyes. Cessfro would grant status, faith, and a path to Cess-class dominance. To everyone's shock, the herald announced another name, Frau von Freya, to step forward, not Shedin. Frozen in disbelief, Shedin stared at Freya. She too was speechless at the announcement. Valk exploded in rage. Unable to accept Freya's recognition, paranoia and betrayal consumed his thoughts. Confused whispers spread. Onlookers questioned Valk's claims. Few believed he'd slain the beast alone. The warriors who survived declared loyalty to Freya, crediting her healing with saving their lives. Stunned, Valk watched support shift toward Freya. He couldn't comprehend how she'd earned their trust. Freya stood speechless. Valk, furious, demanded the king explain, but was swiftly denied any further audience. Valk dismissed the armored elder harshly, refusing to accept the verdict or relinquish his pride. Surrounded by spears, Valk confronted the knights. The elder challenged his arrogance with calm authority. New figures intervened firmly, warning Valk to mind his place as soldiers reinforced the official decision. Elder revealed himself King Gandalf de Roroso, 17th ruler, commanding respect through power and battle scar. The king greeted Freya and Fujimura warmly, joking lightly about battles, banquets, and unfinished promises. Valk was silenced in fear as King Gandalf stepped forward with overwhelming presence and strength. The king denounced Valk's ambition. Strength meant nothing without heart. His failures would be remembered. Turning to Freya, the king declared his expectation not just power but a true hero's resolve. Kneeling, the king defined heroism, selfless strength, and a righteous heart devoted to others above self. Freya stood quietly, her memories flashing unshaken, relentless and noble. She embodied the spirit of Faust. Freya reflected on past pain, rejection, and failure, haunted by questions about her own worth. She never believed someone like her, a loner, could ever be chosen as a hero. Despite her scars and solitude, Freya was selected for her restraint, compassion, and unique resilience. Encouraged by her allies, she held back tears. She'd endured much but finally stood proud. As dawn broke, she smiled through tears, reassured she'd followed the right path all along. Beneath the glowing moons, Jin emerged from shadows, wary of unrest creeping through the night air. Laughter erupted indoors as food overflowed, barrels clanged, and townsfolk celebrated with nobles in full swing. Across the tables, chaos brewed, ale flying, toast shout. Jin hesitated, startled by familiar faces carousing wildly. Ignoring protocol, the king leaned back, slurring distaste for royal halls and their suffocating ceremonial restrictions. Elsewhere, Jin observed a girl calmly sipping amid chaos, while drunken games spun out around her. Cheers erupted as several warriors surrounded Frau, praising her healing that saved lives during battle. Despite blushing at praise, Frau admitted mistakes. She'd been demoted before regaining honor through the king. Talk shifted to Adzuma, the borderland where humans and demons clashed violently for territory supremacy. The demons possessed immense power, steel-like bodies, flight, and magic. Their generals rivaled elite human warbands combined. Moved by everyone's respect, Frau smiled as Gan wept, overwhelmed by pride in her resilience. A towering warrior grabbed Frau, skeptical of her strength and doubting the material she delivered. Drunk and arrogant, he belittled her abilities, mocking her for lacking offensive combat skills. Suddenly, a firm hand seized his wrist, stopping him before more harm could be done. Tension filled the air as a dark-haired woman stood calmly, her gaze sharp and cold. Eyes widened across the room. Frau and others stunned by the mysterious beauty's sudden, radiant presence. Mocking her defiance, the brute propositioned the elf. She answered coldly, unimpressed by his arrogance. Without hesitation, she leaned forward, slamming foreheads. Her eyes narrowed, calm, but unshakably dominant. Gasps filled the room. She declared justice, vowing to punish anyone who disrespected Frau again. Frau trembled in confusion, recognizing her face. The elf revealed herself by removing her mask. With grace and finality, she announced her intention to join their journey. From this moment, with flushed cheeks, Gan proudly unveiled Seiki, eager to share a personal treasure from home. He explained its chamfered bottle design. Frau listened, baffled by the Seiki's strange importance. Soon, the banquet reignited. Frau smiled, touched by Gan's energy and those celebrating around him. Surrounded by women, Gan boasted his aid. Frau sulked quietly, unsure how to respond anymore. Trying to match him, Frau downed a bottle, then collapsed, cheeks red and vision spinning. Frau dozed off drunkenly. Gan approached, concerned she'd catch a cold sleeping in the open. Nagage moved in, declaring she'd warm Frau, but quickly began undressing, startling the entire room. Despite the chaos, Frau slept soundly. Nagage remained unfazed, confused by everyone's panicked response to her. Meanwhile, a distant stronghold lit the horizon. Soldiers gathered, signaling an unknown force approaching swiftly. The ominous gate creaked open. Heavy tension spilled forth as something dangerous began to awaken. The king entrusted them with caution. Frau and Gan departed with resolve and quiet determination. A new dungeon called Imbo awaited. Frau grew tense, imagining dangers inside the unknown labyrinth. Speculation spread: had the labyrinth appeared by fate, or due to Mr. Fujimura's mysterious reincarnation. Weapons ready, the trio stepped through the gate together. Their first true dungeon had begun. A young elf girl stood alone. Her name was Eltikoko, and sorrow surrounded her origin. Despite elven heritage, Eltikoko possessed no mana. Her black hair marked her as a cursed heretic. She faced cruelty and violence. Kicked and mocked, other elves treated her as inhuman trash. With no known birthplace, Eltikoko grew up isolated, believing she had no place anywhere. Later, her name resurfaced, mocked by an enemy. Nagage's body lay motionless, defeated under a crimson sky. As death neared, Eltikoko accepted it. She had always felt inferior, resigned to suffering. But someone appeared. For the first time, she saw genuine care in another's expression. That moment changed everything. She vowed to protect this human who gave her worth. 3 days passed. Guards waited outside the dungeon, unsure how deep the group had gone. Outside, one knight dreamed of fortune. The face priority rule gave them 5 days inside. A sudden explosion burst from the dungeon entrance, hurling smoke, debris and panic through the camp. Soldiers panicked at the blast. From the dust, familiar voices echoed, emerging into open air. Gan led the group out. Frau coughed. Nagage smiled faintly behind the settling smoke. Nagage handed Frau a cloth. Soldiers confirmed the group's return, praising their fight against the crab. Later, Frau presented their report. Maps and data were shared directly with the astonished king. Around a cozy fire, the group rested. Gan proudly discussed stones he retrieved from Embo. He revealed mythical artifacts, a transition crystal, and a spatial storehouse rare SS-grade magic stone. Excited, Gan sorted the stones. He eagerly planned to test everything back in his workshop. News of the items spread. Other adventurers grew interested, hoping to join Gan's powerful team. Suddenly, a dark, massive shadow loomed above. Everyone turned as something enormous approached from overhead. A guard noticed too late. The monstrous structure descended rapidly, piercing him with brutal force. The creature's massive body crashed down. Debris flew. Gan shielded himself, eyes narrowing amid chaos. Everyone stared at the towering structure. One soldier screamed his comrade was already half gone. Frau collapsed in tears. Her magic couldn't reverse death. Regret crushed her heart completely. Nearby, Nagage watched coldly. The creature's shell cracked open, revealing something worse waiting inside. A massive mechanical demon descended, its towering frame shaking the earth. The girl froze, terrified. Face to face with the girl, the creature hissed and demanded to know about strange stone. Observers gasped as the monster spoke, a rare variant it could fully understand and mimic language. A seasoned warrior stepped forward, recognizing the creature. It was a fiend from the demon clan. The demon cracked its knuckles, smirking with intent. It prepared to crush every human present. The creature identified itself as a 6th Division vice commander. Soldiers recognized it. Death bludgeon. Matora, a confident warrior, stepped forward. Unfazed, eager to test demon strength, he welcomed the fight. The ground cracked beneath them as a towering figure clenched its fist, threatening destruction. With a monstrous roar, the enemy erupted upward, pulverizing the earth in furious, devastating force. The enemy stood victorious, announcing his finishing move, the demonic iron mallet. Total bludgeoning confirmed. From above, soldiers stared in shock. The trio barely escaped annihilation using some unknown trick. Thanks to the transition crystal, their escape succeeded calmly. They watched the chaos below unfold. Upon seeing the escape, the demon clenched his jaw, recognizing the artifact's sudden spatial shift. Meanwhile, magic users gathered power, chanting for another strike as knights rushed in without hesitation. No damage registered. The demon stood unfazed, declaring such feeble sorcery meaningless against his body. Terrified soldiers stumbled back as the demon silently raised a cursed orb, draining strength from air. In response, dark blood bullets erupted outward, tearing through the battlefield with merciless precision and speed. Dozens of soldiers collapsed under the barrage, pierced by relentless streams of sharpened blackened blood. Amid the chaos, the demon loomed calmly. Despair spread. No one believed escape was possible. Out of nowhere, the black-haired fighter struck, launching a bold airborne assault toward the demon. Weapon in hand, young warrior confronted the monster directly, prepared to hold the front line. As plans were debated, allies questioned success, fearing their tools weren't enough to stop him. Frau declared the girl's destiny, introducing her as the world's first true female hero. Stepping forward, Frau introduced herself confidently, an unexpected one-armed warrior known across the land. The demon scoffed, laughing at humanity's hope, resting on a timid, inexperienced little girl. Grinning wide, the demon proposed a wager failure would result in their entire nation's destruction. While panic spread, Frau calmly instructed the girl on how to properly operate the unfamiliar weapon. Fujimura confidently explained the weapon's potential. She just needed to get close and fire. He revealed the model's true nature: a short-range, wide blast design meant for obliterating massive targets. Hearing the technical explanation, she smiled. If Fujimura built it, she believed it would succeed. Yet beneath her courage lived the same girl who once doubted her worth as hero. Despite fears, she chose to fight, believing in a stranger and facing down a monstrous threat. Frau admired her determination, declaring such resolve the very essence of what defines a hero. While the demon roared, the girl advanced, channeling faith, technology, and hope into her weapon. A massive blast erupted, voidal sky engulfing the enemy with overwhelming force and vaporizing the surrounding air. Everyone watched in awe. The demon's body dissolved, regeneration halted, his core melted, cowering from inside. Frau slung the hammer over her shoulder, satisfied. The threat was neutralized exactly as predicted. Frau stood stunned. Applause broke out. She was now acknowledged as a true hero. That day marked a first. A B-rank adventurer defeated a ranked demon alone, without backup. The allied armies formed ranks. Imperial knights ahead, Sophia's magic casters positioned at the rear. Elves charged the left flank. Beastmen stormed the right. Every unit surged on commander's signal. Before them loomed Adzuma's dark horde. Commanders rallied troops, declaring fate would be decided here. Thousands of demonic beasts burst from the darkness, sprinting with terrifying speed and feral growls. Enemy forces slammed into the front lines, overwhelming vanguards before anyone could react. Chaos erupted immediately. Tentacled beasts rose from beneath. Soldiers were snatched mid-air. Chaos spread through the collapsing front. Commanders hesitated. Reinforcements were missing. Still, retreat was forbidden. Hope hinged on surviving a few moments longer. A terrifying roar erupted. Enemy reinforcements charged in waves. The battlefield's balance tipped dangerously toward ruin. Just before collapse, two elite warriors appeared, blades drawn, cutting through swarms without hesitation or fear. They stood triumphant on high ground, arguing over who struck first and killed more enemies. Solian of Feverflash arrived last, calm and confident, claiming his massive fiery beasts cleared enemies too. Aklina, Ice General of the Empire, quietly pointed to the bodies she had slain effortlessly. Without blinking, she asked if he had complaints, her gaze cold, yet alluring to Heathlun. Though flustered, Heathlun denied issue. Crowds cheered below, recognizing the duo that shifted battlefield fate. From the eastern skies, unknown forces watched. Whispers of a disaster from Riroso had resurfaced. A grotesque flying creature raced through the darkness, delivering urgent news to the demon forces. It entered a chamber of chains, kneeling before the towering demon general, Lord Telzero. Telzero learned that Vice Commander Matora was slain, possibly by a Solian or Order warrior. Far across lands, Beastkin mocked human warriors, disbelieving any low rank could defeat a demon commander. Despite warnings, one impulsive Beastkin insisted they travel to confront these humans directly and personally. Sitting atop a grotesque beast, a scout spoke. Rumors claimed humans devoured demons whole instantly. Prince Illness, rank adventurer and eater of beasts, grinned, eager to challenge such bold rumors. Inoses the prodigy, youngest Solian, joined confidently, his power alone enough to shift any battle. Another warrior warned of a weapon that slays demons instantly, its existence troubling even seasoned elites. A wise king questioned their next move. aware powerful forces were already stirring once again. Eager to become a hero, the youth plotted a direct route toward Adzuma's demonic front. While others worried about travel time, he dismissed concern, confident in his own unorthodox solution. He unveiled his secret weapon Ka truck, a compact vehicle capable of crossing continents in weeks. Fueled by magic stones, the truck amazed the king, securing him full support from Riros. With allies aboard and engine roaring, the group departed swiftly toward the looming threat in Adzuma. Determined and confident, the driver accelerated hard, knowing the path to power required constant forward motion. Fujimura fitted the girl with a custom mechanical arm, perfectly synced with her movements. Using rare stones, he enhanced the arm's neural flow and electrical efficiency beyond ordinary limits. Confident in his skills, Fujimura boasted he could recreate anything except his precious cigarettes. But when he tried and failed to replicate smokes, a deep panic overtook him. Faced with the truth, Fujimura sat stunned. His greatest battle wasn't war, it was quitting smoking. Riding in Fujimura's truck, the girl marveled at their speed across unfamiliar terrain. Fujimura absent-mindedly ate fuel stone candy. Burning resources quickly, they needed a stop. Urgently and strategically, they planned a detour to Bones, near Goldoro, famed for trading rare magic stones. In Bones, they hoped to meet Lord Philosoph, a sage with wartime wisdom and influence. Fujimura smiled slyly, hoping Philosoph might help him score rare sigs, despite vowing to quit earlier. Despite past vows, Fujimura lit up again, claiming renewed energy as the journey continued. Suddenly, they spotted a beast-like girl collapsed in chains, barely conscious and visibly trembling. Fujimura halted the truck, rushed to her side, and examined her condition carefully and silently. Kneeling beside her, Fujimura gently asked why she was alone and injured in the field. She collapsed into sobs, repeating "I'm sorry," as guilt and fear overwhelmed her completely. Fujimura offered bread gently, urging the girl to eat and gather herself after her breakdown. While she scarfed the bread, Fujimura prepped his tools to remove her painful restraint. Fujimura reassured her the bread was hers now. No one would steal from her again. Overwhelmed by kindness, the girl burst into tears, grateful, shocked, and unable to hold emotions inside. They realized the girl was a fleeing beastman, marked and hunted. She'd escaped from a nightmare. They discovered the girl bore a slave mark, proof she had been sold and abused. A dark figure arrived, mocking the hardship of chasing down a runaway beastman slave. 3 mounted enforcers appeared, threatening control and punishment if she dared escape again. The lead slaver revealed the tracking stone bound to her chains. Escape had never been possible. Calling her a rare white wolf, he gloated over horrific plans and her sealed powers. Fujimura placed a hand on her head, promising safety. She had nothing to fear anymore. He praised her strength, then asked her to trust him this time. He'd protect her. Tears turned into awe as the girl realized help had truly arrived. Hope flickered within. An intimidating elf warrior stepped forward. Slavers mocked her until her presence silenced every lewd word. Without warning, the elf struck back, swift, brutal, and precise. The slaver commander crumpled instantly. The slavers panicked as the elf moved faster than they could react, terrifying everyone watching. One attacker charged in desperation, but she calmly blocked the blade with overwhelming composure. Fujimura revealed her armor was newly crafted, reinforced, lightweight, and designed precisely for elite battle. Standing tall, the elf confirmed her readiness. Every movement radiated confidence, power, and absolute control. Naganeji tested her new gauntlet. The power surged instantly, smooth, responsive, built for battle. Fujimura explained its design. It balanced force, enough for humans, not to kill, just subdue. Though lacking mana, the gear amplified her output. A temporary boost made her hits devastating. With minimal strength, she could now crush opponents. She'd control the force, avoiding accidental fatality. Fujimura named it Chapeau, a weapon of precision, tailored for warriors without magical talent. A massive armored warrior charged recklessly forward, shoving comrades aside, desperate to reach his target. But suddenly, a towering man appeared. Calm and silent, his presence alone made enemies freeze. Though annoyed, Vito Rai accepted the coming fight. His sleepy face masked deadly experience. His reputation echoed loudly. Once the strongest imperial knight, a vice-captain feared across battlefields and borders. Vito Rai dismissed the praise. Branded a fugitive, he now fought only to survive. Knights were elite warriors, trained from youth, their strength crucial against the advancing demon race. Vito Rai stretched calmly. Despite being underestimated, his reputation as vice-captain made others hesitate deeply. As tension rose, Naganeji, Fujimura, and the healer reflected quietly on their uncertain paths forward. With a smirk, Vito called out his first attacker. An eager fighter launched forward, without hesitation. But Naganeji intervened first, launching a swift kick, that sent the wild attacker flying off-screen. After Naganeji's strike, Vito exhaled calmly. That blow had almost landed too cleanly for comfort. Known for quick judgment, Vito assessed risk. The odds weren't ideal. Retreat tempted his instincts. He considered using a rare analysis stone, but hesitated. It was too valuable for casual use. Naganeji, however, activated the stone herself. Its purpose revealed strength, latent power, and cursed seal level. As the stone glowed, something unexpected emerged. A blade appeared at her throat without warning. The analysis revealed a terrifying truth. An arsenal of swords pointed at Vito from nowhere. Naganeji's power shocked him. She wasn't just a rank, she was bordering Zis rank, with growth potential. Vito turned toward the healer next, irritated yet curious, preparing for another strength assessment. Suddenly, space distorted. Vito stood alone in a shifting dimension. Something massive was about to appear. A towering magical cannon emerged behind the healer. Silent, mystical, brimming with overwhelming magical force. Vito stared in disbelief. The healer's pressure exploded, unexpected, terrifying, like a hostile army's wrath. He began to panic. Could that brat actually be strong too? Confidence began to crack. Still skeptical, he dismissed the threat. But sudden chains burst forth, targeting him with precision. Chains clamped down. Vito's limbs were trapped. Before reacting, his body was pulled beneath the surface. Water filled his lungs, bound and sinking fast. Vito desperately struggled toward the vanishing surface. As he drowned deeper, a grotesque creature emerged, its many eyes and gaping mouth horrifyingly massive. Vito's body shattered a protective charm. Gasping for air, he returned shaken from the vision. He remembered that monstrous form he'd once seen it in battle. It forced his retreat. Now, sensing similar pressure from the brat, he grew uneasy. Was history repeating itself already? The muscular man raised both hands, surrendering peacefully. He admitted defeat before the fight even started. He confessed being overwhelmed by the opponent's strength, but their cold response promised punishment without hesitation. One fighter leaped forward. Another warned him attempted murder wouldn't be forgiven so easily this time. He tried to reason, claiming peace, but his pleas were ignored. Retaliation had already been decided. Desperate, he offered valuable information for his life. The intel concerned a friend of theirs. While tensions eased, a new figure appeared, cheerfully mocking the youngest in the group. The muscular man was forced to plead, told to beg forgiveness from the pipsqueak girl. Panicked, he shouted promises and begged for mercy. The group considered his claim of useful information. With reluctant agreement, they decided to hear him out. The man grinned, his life now spared. He finally revealed the truth: the silent elf among them was bound by a curse, and he stretched confidently and questioned the elf's weak magic. Elves, by nature, held strong mana. He revealed the truth: she was cursed by a magu, an ancient mana-consuming parasite spell. The curse couldn't be removed unless the host was destroyed or powerful magic intervened instead. Curse's source was likely controlled by Maledic, a feared dark magician from Zafra. Zafra was a massive crime syndicate. The girl realized she'd been targeted by powerful enemies. He confessed loyalty meant little, revealing secrets didn't matter, as long as he stayed alive. Planning to leave, he was stopped. The group insisted they had business and bonus too. With a sly grin, the leader demanded he escort them directly to the enemy base. Panic set in. Betraying his comrades now could end badly if they discovered the truth. Confident and determined, their leader promised to break the curse and free the cursed elf. Reunited with Fuji, the beast girl leapt into his arms, overwhelmed with emotion and relief. Tension rose. They vowed vengeance. The traitor warned against rash moves, fearing internal retaliation and chaos. Fury burned in their leader's eyes. Child abduction was a line that couldn't be crossed. A truck suddenly arrived. Without hesitation, they demanded the traitor drive them straight to Bonus. With no say left, he complied. Packed tightly, the group set off toward enemy territory. The group arrived at Bonus, the second great city protected by towering sea statues and inside, vibrant markets overflowed with exotic goods. The beast girl marveled at crystals and curiosity. They completed check-in. Among the crowd, an important noble presence watched quietly behind extravagant attire. A small king generously funded their stay. With coin in hand, they relaxed for now. Local thugs spotted the coin bag. Greedy eyes followed, preparing to rob the unsuspecting traveler. Mistaken for slavers, the group faced mockery. The thug grabbed Fuji, unaware of his danger. Without warning, the thug was struck down. Fuji's team didn't tolerate insults or threats lightly. The gang reacted in shock, but were swiftly overpowered. Resistance against Fuji was utterly pointless. Fuji declared war. The criminal syndicate that cursed them would be reduced to dust soon. 50 years after his daughter vanished, the elderly couple still watched old videos in silence. They recalled her kindness, her warmth, and the toys she left behind, never once discarded. Burdened by regret, the old man clenched his fist, whispering apologies he never got to say. A younger man, once just a craftsman, wondered if he had the power to change fate. That night, under the moonlit sky, strange travelers appeared, and so began the craftsman's true journey. Laughter echoed through the plaza as plates piled high, the group relishing every last bite. With cheeks flushed from drink, the cheerful one proposed visiting a sage just to stir trouble. Avoiding chaos, the hooded man eyed escape, but the drunk insisted on another bar instead. Resistance crumbled fast. The energetic one offered free drinks, cracking bones and resolve in equal measure. Exiting the tavern, they joked like old friends. Unaware, someone quietly whispered, "Mr. Fujimura," behind them. Instead of a tavern or shop, the young man casually suggested visiting the other's hideout. Shock followed quickly. The idea was serious, and he insisted on going alone without hesitation. Despite danger, he confessed the plan was selfish, but he wouldn't risk his companion's safety. Frustrated and fed up, the cloaked man dashed off, yelling insults rather than arguing further. But before he vanished, the young man appeared ahead, wielding a wrench, ready for what's next. The ground trembled as his wrench struck. Shocking power surged, stunning even the cloaked man speechless. Realization dawned. The boy wasn't asking for help, he was offering it, overwhelming and absolute. With a terrifying grin, he suggested repayment: either aid willingly, or face brutal punishment for sins. Eventually the pair stood before a monstrous maw, eyes wide, knowing this was their destination. A hidden fortress revealed itself. The giant beast masked the syndicate known only as Zeph. Deep beneath the surface lay a quarrim, a labyrinthine dungeon hiding the crime syndicate's central base. Feigning valor, the cloaked man claimed lingering knightly honor, but skepticism flickered in the other's gaze. Before them loomed the final gate, both a challenge and a chance for rising in rank. Its enchanted lock required mana to open, protected by dense steel and anti-magic mechanisms throughout. But betrayal had consequences. His signature was erased, and his bluff exposed faster than he anticipated. Dejected, the cloaked man assumed escape was the only option until the kid calmly disagreed. With a confident grin, he prepared his tools, stepping forward to handle things his way. Mockery followed. How could steel that thick be cut without mana? He scoffed at the notion. Undeterred, the young man introduced his technique, not magic, but something he called modern magic. Using oxygen and acetylene, he activated the cutting torch technology forged for slicing steel like butter. To begin, he preheated the steel, watching carefully for the golden-orange glow of readiness. Torch in hand, he sliced clean lines, keeping the flame steady and movement controlled. Metal clanged as it dropped. The impossible entrance now breached by nothing more than ingenuity. Explaining casually, he praised the torch's reliability, yet hinted at plasma for tougher materials ahead. The cloaked man, stunned, demanded answers. This boy used tools like sorcery, but spoke no spells. Calmly walking ahead, he declared himself just a craftsman, yet his actions told a different story. Under the moonlit sky, Frau awoke abruptly, sensing something strange. Fujimura still hadn't returned home. She looked outside and spotted Peep wandering alone. Concerned, she decided to investigate the situation. Peep revealed her intent to search for Fujimura. Determined, she led the way forward. Frau hesitated, worried about the city's size. Peep reassured her with her powerful beastman senses. Aldito joined without warning. Together, they formed a search team to find Fujimura safely. The moon loomed above as a bustling underground tavern echoed with laughter and drunken cheer. Within the noisy crowd, warriors reveled loudly, unaware of the coming threat outside their stronghold. Two figures slipped through a secret path, discussing hidden guards and their well-defended base location. Suddenly, a massive creature emerged from the shadows, its roar shaking the cavern's rocky walls. Without hesitation, the girl swung her weapon. Temeshel fell. They pressed forward without losing pace. Their path led into a cavern, where disturbing truths surfaced. This was a slave facility. Inside cages, children and women huddled hopeless. One girl whispered "Mama," breaking the silence. Rage burned in her eyes. She gripped her power pole and swore to free them. After gathering saws, she demanded help. They prepared to dismantle the prison with industrial precision. Elsewhere, the girls approached a suspicious wall. Peep's nose caught something unusual hidden behind the stone. From above, a hulking man watched suspicious activity under the moonlight, intrigued by unfamiliar movement below. Feigning friendliness, he invited them in, claiming to work nearby and offering a guided tour. Through twisting tunnels, they followed cautiously. Eltiko sensed something odd within the hidden passage. Freed prisoners reunited. Meanwhile, the leader Melodic warned them next. They'd confront the true mastermind directly. Without resistance, directions were given. One straight path remained between them and the core threat. She tossed him a gold pouch, payment for help, closure for what came before tonight. With sincerity, she urged him to leave the shadows and start life anew elsewhere. Though risks loomed, she acknowledged them calmly. Fear never stopped her from facing what mattered. Memories of past regrets steeled her resolve. Losing wasn't as painful as giving up. Before parting, he warned her another monster awaited below. A beast man named Bistia, wild and brutal. Bistia, a fearsome rank warrior, had crushed an entire night squad without assistance. From a distance, the enemy waited on a throne, grinning menacingly under the spotlighted moon. Freed captives watched silently as coins exchanged hands. Their future now rested in their choice. Despite everything, he planned to return hungry for power and determined to rise in rank. Doubt struck momentarily. He realized betrayal had erased any future ambitions within the organization. Standing before a skull-engraved gate, she reaffirmed her method. Never once had it failed her. She activated the massive gate with mana. Behind it lay Maledic's domain, dark and sealed. Spotting the throne at a distance, she knew Maledic was already expecting her arrival. Seated atop bones and chains, the man revealed his name. He was the infamous Maledic. With wide eyes and twisted pride, he welcomed her to Zafat's cruel, controlling heart. She stood firm, mocked his rule, and prepared to end his madness with force. A masked man tracked every movement using hidden magic stones scattered throughout the dungeon town. While monitoring a traitor knight, he unexpectedly discovered two others entering the surveillance zone. Among them was an escaped elf experiment, now unknowingly returning to her captor. She was a rare success, a born-in-dungeon elf, manipulated since birth for magical research. They arrived at an ominous chamber. A skull rolled. The air grew darker with tension. A torch ignited suddenly. Her eyes widened, realizing the darkness masked something far worse. Inside, rows of skulls and instruments confirmed this was no diner. It was death. Their guide grinned wide. This was his twisted masterpiece, a torture chamber masked as hospitality. He taunted the beast girl, revealing her rescuer's bones had already been stripped and displayed. She remembered the promise, a kind man, hopeful words. Now betrayed, she collapsed in tears. Suddenly, a powerful strike lands. Elves and allies break silence, initiating a violent counterattack. The beast woman, wounded and furious, unleashes savage blows against her former captors, without hesitation. With unwavering eyes, the dark-haired elf sends a message to allies watching from afar. The masked man mocks their struggle. He gloats. Sasha rankers easily overpowered the foolish resistance fighters. He reveals the chilling truth. The elf girl was engineered as a weapon from birth, and he cursed her early, suppressing strength. Now only shattering the vessel can restore her. The masked man reveals a solution to defeat a cursed relic before breaking the Magu's restraint. Stone, known as unbreakable, defeated every challenger in history. None ever succeeded before. A strange reaction began. Hidden letters emerged, revealing its metal isn't magical but man-made craftsmanship. The metal's perfection, thinner than paper, proves it's not magic but a human-forged miracle. Enemy recognized it instantly, an artifact crafted using technology from the original world. Confused, he questioned how such advanced craftsmanship from Earth had reached this fantasy realm. Fujimura questioned the eerie artifact. The warlord explained it was an ancient heirloom from Adzuma. The artifact pulsed ominously. Rumors claimed it was built in ancient times to seal monstrous power. A skeletal beast emerged violently, roaring as dark energy from the relic reanimated its ancient bones. With a wicked grin, the warlord revealed its secret. The heirloom massively amplified the user's mana, channeling enhanced strength. Fujimura shattered the beast's skull in one blow. The crowd stood speechless. Launching mid-air, Fujimura's sheer force startled the dark mage, who admired his overwhelming might. With a steely gaze, he declared urgency, determined to end the fight without hesitation. His wrench cracked down hard, impacting the mage's barrier with violent precision, shaking the entire chamber. The warlord grinned wickedly, revealing his armor could nullify all physical attacks without exception. Amused, the mage mocked him, boasting that, as a dark caster, physical blows meant nothing. Analyzing his abilities, the enemy concluded Fujimura's power ranked near a B-class warrior's level. Despite the gap, the dark mage recognized Fujimura's unpredictability as a serious strategic complication. Dozens of skeletal beasts erupted into existence, an overwhelming army conjured to crush the lone fighter. From every angle, monsters the mage challenged him to escape the swarm alive. Fujimura's eyes glowed sharply. His body shifted into motion, driven by pure godlike combat reflexes. Without warning, Fujimura split into countless after-images, each step outpacing the enemy's line of sight. Despite the overwhelming numbers, he stood untouched, calmly watching the stunned summons crumble to dust. He smirked coldly, mocking the idea of wasting teleportation magic on such weak opponent. From behind the gate, even the onlookers stared in disbelief. He dodged every single summoned beast. For the first time, they wondered maybe this boy could defeat the dark tyrant Malade. The dark mage trembled with excitement, fascinated by Fujimura's unnatural talent and mysterious bloodline origin, and he confessed his obsession. Fujimura intrigued him more than the elf girl he once dissected. He revealed the truth: the girl was an elf-demon hybrid, considered a forbidden, monstrous existence. Brutal memories resurfaced: the girl, tortured and shamed for a lineage deemed the world's greatest sin. As he turned his back, one hybrid girl armed herself, ready to fight for justice. Faced with danger, the elf girl held firm, healing others while weighing her limited attack option. Nearby enemies recognized her resilience, grudgingly admitting the healing elf was tougher than she appeared. As chaos escalated, a beast warrior mocked his struggling comrade, demanding immediate transformation and retaliation. Observers trembled. His transformation into a rare warrior-type beastman placed him in the top tier. Fully shifted, the beastman radiated overwhelming strength. His combat prowess now rivaled even the dark mage's own. The beastman seized control, declaring his intent while holding a strange tube above the captive group. Device activated, blocking all healing. The group grew tense, understanding escape or rescue was impossible. He taunted the female warrior, calling her his final treat, revealing twisted obsession beneath confident bravado. Without warning, she retaliated with fierce strength, landing a devastating blow straight into the beastman's torso. She launched skyward, crashing down with force. Dust cleared out. Wounded, she coughed, still standing. Coughing weakly, Eltico collapsed. The healer rushed forward, cradling her battered body in trembling arms. Mockery spilled from the beastman's mouth. He taunted Eltico's past, flaunting the shame of her heritage. Memories resurfaced: her escape, judgment, and isolation. Realization dawned that buried fury had always been righteous defiance. Despite trembling knees, she prepared to rise. Behind her, a comrade shouted, pleading for her to retreat. His strike landed without mercy. Eltico crashed into the ground, her allies staring in horror. While Lafril stood defiant, the beast mocked her bloodline, stripping away any illusion of safety. Old memories stirred, fragmented images from a life long gone, buried deep inside her fragile heart. A sorrowful mother whispered Lafril's name, cradling her gently, offering only one gift: hope through escape. Inside the baby's grip, a mana-charged stone pulsed, prepared for a single desperate moment of need. That stone would transport her far away where no cruelty could follow, where safety awaited alone. Tiny fingers grasped her mother's hand, a smile bloomed. The stone pulsed, signaling goodbye's beginning. Through tears, the mother spoke her last hope, that Lafril would someday learn to smile. As pursuers closed in, she released the stone. Her heart ached, but her will held. Visions of Lafril's future danced behind her eyes, people who'd cherish her despite the curse. With silent strength, Lafril stood. The voices echoed within Lafon: love and laugh someday again. Eltico held her ground, comforting Frau. Her voice trembled, but conviction radiated through each word. She had nothing left: no fortune, no peace, only the unshakable will to protect what mattered. Tears streaked her face. Even so, she stepped forward, unwilling to retreat a single inch. Elsewhere, barbaric men gathered. Crude laughter echoed. Appetite stirred, not for food, but cruelty cloaked in power. Among them, vile grins widened. News of captive women reached their ears. Predators ready to pounce. Grinning wide, the transformed brute proclaimed himself the embodiment of despair, undefeatable, overwhelming, and soul-crushing. Vittoria listened, fists clenched. He spat back, no surrender, just fury fueled by harsh-lived truth. With defiant resolve, he dashed forward. Rage burned brighter than fear. Delusions couldn't silence his stride. Inside the cavern, countless enemies swarmed. Vittoria's silhouette emerged alone, outnumbered, unshaken, ready to face them. The mob jeered as he stepped forth. Familiar faces laughed, unaware his resolve had changed forever. Mockery echoed as the mob recognized Vittoria, the ex-knight who once fled, now calmly returned. He stepped forward without hesitation, declaring his purpose to end their cruelty, once and for all. The cloaked man stepped forward alone, facing warrior. Tension rose across the entire Colosseum. Despite scars and slouched posture, he declared war against villains no one else dared confront. Long ago, in distant Colo, he was born a noble son amid peaceful land. Admired by crowds, his father once led mighty knights, protecting Colo from monstrous threats. Young Vittorai idolized his heroic father, dreaming of honor and glory beyond castle walls. Vittorai rushed forward, eyes wide with excitement. As his father returned from another heroic expedition, hoisted onto broad shoulders, the boy blushed while laughter echoed from his proud, teasing father. Everyone revered the knight. To Vittorai he embodied strength, honor, and everything a man should become. Determined to follow his path, Vitarai trained hard until whispers of demons stirred the streets. Atop a slain beast, his father stood alone, as a dark eclipse loomed ominously overhead. Vitarai staggered through guilt and blood, blaming himself for entering the forbidden forest against order. His heart shattered, watching his father, once a legend, reduced to a broken, immobile figure. Through pain, his father smiled, calling Vitarai a treasure worth protecting with half a body. Hearing those words, Vitarai broke into tears, overwhelmed by love deeper than any regret. Though wounded, the knight knelt proudly, knowing he'd never forgive himself if he had fled. A gravestone marked sacrifice. Someday, Vitarai would understand why his father chose death over survival. Years passed. Now cloaked in shadow, Vitarai faced enemies mocking his strength and broken mind. Taunts flew from twisted faces, underestimating a man hardened by grief, trials, and forgotten honor. Chains and demons haunted his past. Survival once meant surrender, but that life felt worse than dying. Smiling through scars, Vitarai whispered an apology, knowing every detour had shaped who he'd become. At his father's grave, Vitarai wept, haunted by regrets and memories he couldn't undo. Still, through hardship, he reclaimed the passion of youth, the spirit once lost to despair. Now, with resolve restored, he stood tall. No more running, no more shame, only purpose. He admitted past sins, knowing redemption wouldn't be peaceful, but it would finally be honest. Armed foes mocked his repentance, eager for blood, blind to the man he had become. Mocked for weakness, he cracked his fingers, remembering something forgotten: his sword wasn't his only weapon. Suddenly, lightning exploded outward. Bodies flew, gasps echoed. A storm had been hiding in silence. Spectators stared in disbelief. Steam rose around him. Was that lightning magic from a knight? Grinning, he revealed the truth: his real strength was magic, not blades. A trained battle mage. Laughter erupted. They called mages weak once their mana drained, but he wasn't finished yet. Groton grinned menacingly, eager to test how long the lone knight could withstand their force. Among the mocking crowd, stronger foes stirred, some finally taking his stance as serious threat. Confidently, one warrior stepped forward, revealing his secret enhanced combat mode. Body hardening, second gate activated. A thunderous blast erupted. Dust swallowed everything. Confusion followed as power surged beyond visible control. His enemies watched stunned. Energy crackled violently. That wasn't a bluff, it was core magic unleashed. A new warrior entered the battlefield, adjusting her tie, calmly preparing to unleash her full strength. Fujimura calmly faced the monstrous enemy, unshaken by his taunts, fully prepared to retaliate now. The enemy activated a bizarre machine, locking onto Fujimura's team, irritated by their unwavering, defiant gaze. From the cracked earth, countless grotesque creatures emerged, an overwhelming army, summoned to induce hopeless, crushing despair. Boasting their numbers, the enemy revealed they were failed experiments still deadly enough to kill elite warriors. With terrifying speed, Fujimura launched upward, slamming enemies aside, showing monstrous strength in one precise counterattack. Surrounded by dozens, Fujimura mocked the enemy's wall, unfazed by their attempt to restrain him. Watching the tension rise, the masked villain grinned silently, his excitement growing with every passing second. Machines whirred violently, as the failed soldiers' bodies mutated, strengthened by enhancements, dulled pain, and frenzied rage. Declaring victory, the enemy celebrated prematurely, convinced that his army had secured total battlefield control. From the smoke emerged a monstrous ally, crushing an enemy soldier, asserting dominance with chilling finality. The towering beast mocked his allies' delay, confident he alone could eliminate all remaining threats. A chilling smile formed, startling both friend and foe, especially the girl crying out in fear. Enraged by that unsettling grin, the brute slammed him into the ground with brutal force. Though his body cracked and trembled, he stubbornly endured, refusing to fall before the enemy. While despair filled her eyes, the enemy taunted her, mocking hope as something foolish and weak. With a shallow breath and trembling body, he suddenly pulsed something strange stirring deep within him. Infuriated by resistance, the beast snapped, ignoring orders, ready to crush them with overwhelming rage. Raising his massive fist, he prepared a final blow, swearing to erase that defiant smirk. The punch descended like a hammer. The others watched in horror, helpless, expecting it to end. Despite pain and tears, he smiled gently, whispering one last apology to Frau before the darkness. A memory of his mother surfaced, awakening something primal. His eyes snapped open, filled with purpose. In a flash, he intercepted the enemy's strike, his body taking the full explosive impact. Despite crushed bones and torn flesh, his eyes locked forward, unflinching, unbreaking under the brutal pressure. The entire arena shook as bodies collided, dust billowed, and stunned silence followed the sudden impact. Staggering backward, The brute blinked in confusion, his opponent still alive, twitching defiantly on the ground. The brute advanced again, mocking the fallen warrior, unaware of the spark reigniting behind clenched fists. Between blood and breath, Lafrille whispered apology, haunted by pain, yet thankful for his sacrifice. Through trembling lips, she made a vow to protect, to endure, to shield Eltico from now. Her mother's final words echoed, urging Lafrille to survive, to seek love beyond this battlefield. But the beast, furious at resistance, roared and struck, shocked by Eltico's indestructible, unyielding right arm. The container glowed violently, radiating intense heat, causing panic among the enemies watching it react unexpectedly. Frau, terrified yet determined, shouted at the monster to release Lafrille from under his leg. Rising with power surge, Lafrille stood tall, her command thundered, forcing the enemy to hesitate. The beast refused to move his leg, towering over Fujimura with cold, silent dominance. Enraged by the insult, Fujimura exploded forward, his fury unleashed in a single charge. Leaping high, he landed behind the beast, who clenched his teeth in unexpected fear. A heavy aura surged. Fujimura's killing intent broke the seal, forcing the enemy's retreat. Overwhelmed by power, the enemy dropped the seal. Negi collapsed. The tide had fully turned. Power surged from the girl, nearly breaking the seal. The masked villain realized the growing threat. Observing the battlefield of bodies, he sensed danger and decided to eliminate the child immediately. Standing defiantly amid corpses, she declared vengeance, her eyes locked fiercely onto her next opponent. To his shock, she recovered instantly and charged, striking with precision before fear could settle. Mocking the villain's confusion, she dismissed his fear. Her strength came not from magic, but muscle. He mocked her attack, claiming the barrier's strength far exceeded that of lesser enemies' force. Without hesitation, she shattered the barrier completely, sending heavy debris crashing down around the shocked villain. His confidence broke. Her strength wasn't trivial. Panic set in as he activated flight magic. In response, she dropped metal bolts, small tools scattered like seeds across the cracked battlefield floor. Confused and wary, the enemy analyzed the strange objects, unaware they were already part of battle. The masked warrior collapsed under unseen pressure. His armor cracked. Something impossibly heavy was approaching. Fujimura prepared his weapon. Using pipe wrench and projectiles, he engineered a brutal attack strategy. He tested the metal sphere's perfect size, balanced weight, deadly when swung with force. Calling out the enemy, Fujimura stood firm. The creature Moray emerged, radiating overwhelming magical energy. With a thunderous swing, Fujimura launched the projectile. Air shattered. Everything around exploded on impact. A massive column of force erupted. Fujimura barely survived, shielded by his body-hardening technique. Voice echoed. The dungeon's master declared dominion over everything, including its twisted ecosystem. Monstrous eel obeyed the master's will. Even the dungeon's guardian had been enslaved. Fujimura analyzed the grotesque creature. Despite its strength, he readied a tool for battle. He gripped the gad tightly, a chisel-like tool designed to break even the hardest form. The massive eel laughed off the gad, mocking its size against its towering body. Ignoring the taunt, Fujimura leapt forward, smashing his weapon directly into the creature's skull. He aligned the chisel perfectly, braced himself, and drove it downward with all his strength. A devastating explosion followed. The entire monster's upper frame erupted under the focus strike's force. The enemy stunned, Fujimura stood tall. He and his tools had battled tougher metal before. With the beast defeated, Fujimura stood calm. To him, flesh and bone meant nothing. A colossal beast stirred the forest. A lone figure stood atop, radiating quiet, unsettling power. The boy, Fujimura, rested a wrench on his shoulder. The air thickened with tension. Raising a megaphone, Fujimura called out calmly, his voice echoing across the silent battlefield. Far away, an ear twitched. A fallen warrior stirred, barely conscious, responding to Fujimura's distant voice. Injured allies weakly raised their heads. Fujimura, they whispered. Hope rekindled amid the scattered broken bodies. Tears poured down Pip's face as fear gripped her heart, watching Fujimura stand alone. Instead of retreating, Fujimura urged allies to endure, vowing to end the threat immediately himself. Enemies jeered mockingly, dismissing his resolve. Their overconfidence blinded them to the shift in momentum. Leaping forward with weapon in hand, Fujimura declared their downfall, charging straight into enemy lines. Unexpectedly, Pip stepped forward with trembling courage, shouting her resolve to fight beside her comrade. The enemy mocked Pip's defiance, belittling her size while boasting of past merciless victories. Without warning, a monstrous creature named Magoo was unleashed, erupting violently with overwhelming magical energy. Dark magic surged across the battlefield as the beast's form expanded, threatening to consume everything nearby. With unwavering focus, Fujimura countered midair, aiming straight toward the monster's core without hesitation. He reminded the villain of their sins, condemning every cruel act committed under blind ambition. Each face reflected lives ruined, stolen time, broken families, childhoods lost to one tyrant's ambition. Fujimura's gaze sharpened. With final resolve, he declared judgment and prepared the chisel for punishment. With unstoppable force, the divine chisel struck, detonating divine energy into the heart of evil. The massive impact shattered the enemy's form. Fujimura landed calmly, apologizing for his delayed rescue. At last, the seal cracked, stone trembling, barriers giving way as the long-awaited liberation finally began. As debris scattered into the sky, Fujimura smiled gently, knowing the curse had finally lifted. But from the shadows, another dark force loomed. Ominous figures emerged, drenched in killing intent. One monster lunged ferociously at Pip, claws raised. Her courage faltered, but she didn't retreat. Suddenly, its motion stalled. Confusion spread across the creature's face. As something disrupted its strike, everyone froze. A lone silhouette appeared behind the enemy unseen. Unexpected, and Pip's eyes widened in disbelief. Mysterious strands flowed as an unfamiliar figure landed. Her presence alone silenced the battlefield instantly. The towering woman calmly held Pip. Fujimura and allies looked on, stunned by her arrival. Unfazed by the monster's threat, the woman introduced herself without emotion. Her name was Lafra. Unemployed and frustrated, overhears travelers discussing Bonas, a rich but dangerous city. He learns Bonas suffers from rampant crime. The criminal group Zefat freely roams the streets. Zefat dominates the economy, bribing nobles and funding wars while gaining unchecked political influence. Beneath luxury, Bonas hides suffering slaves whipped, addicts collapse, and nobles indulge in stolen wealth. Zefat's grip is absolute. Even children are kidnapped, forced to dig beneath their dark empire. Defeated by hopelessness, the drunkards admit Bonas is vile, and they're powerless to change it. Far away, a shadowed warrior approaches. A cloaked woman watches silently from the misted shore, eyes steady. She vows vengeance. Those who corrupted Bonas will face merciless, calculated divine retribution. Mockery fails to shake her. Her limbs, embedded with mana gear, channel deadly focused energy. The brute flaunts muscle and arrogance, taunting her slim figure, unaware of the storm she's become. Her body rose, hair whipping upward, as black energy surged beneath her like rupturing ground. Dark winds spiral around her. Observers reel in confusion. Was this magic, or something more ancient? With a fluid motion, she conjures Black Prison, a violent vortex enclosing her stunned opponent. Roaring, he struggles inside the swirling storm, screaming in disbelief as darkness constricts his chest. Chains tighten. He thrashes against them, shouting mockingly, still convinced nothing can bind his monstrous strength. Suddenly his arm twists grotesquely. A cursed symbol forms. Something dark and deadly has awakened. The air warps as he releases mass-bearing gale, compressing force into a blinding destructive blast. Above him, she gathers power. His eyes widen as the walls tremble under immense pressure. Eyes closed in calm resolve, she floats effortlessly, channeling fury into elegant magical precision. From afar, her comrade grins. He knows this is Nagasegi's moment to unleash the storm. Nagasegi activates her technique, instant full armor. Isenguso wind hardens into blackened, spiked armor. Recognition flashes in his eyes. Her identity surfaces. Something terrifying, long thought impossible, now undeniable. Elsewhere, a battered child cries out. His voice echoes vengeance, unforgivable scum. Absolute monsters. Too late. She lunges at inhuman speed, her armored limb rocketing like a divine hammer. Superstorm kick, her leg tears through the monster's body, shattering bone and pride in one strike. The monster's body cracked violently under the impact. Shockwaves shattered the earth beneath his feet. As the dust cleared, Nagasegi remained motionless. Black wind dissolved, returning to her silent command. Her expression softened with calm control, while her allies stepped forward to address the battlefield. Across the warfront, Zafat's soldiers froze. Their strongest warrior had fallen without delivering a single wound. Panic spread through the enemy line. Defeat was certain, and their morale collapsed beyond repair. Fujimura mocked the enemy gang, unfazed by their numbers. They stared, confused by his confidence. He warned them calmly stronger foes had already fallen. Panic rose as fear struck their mind. Despite his injury, Fujimura stayed conscious. Eltkoko collapsed nearby, her strength fading in the rain. Fujimura fell face first, unconscious. Their allies rushed toward the battlefield. Alarmed by the sudden silence, Eltikoko trembled, blood dripping. She saw Fujimura barely breathe, still smiling through the agony and exhaustion. Her body failed under pressure. The power she awakened had already exceeded her physical limits. Fujimura stood firm, injured but unwavering. He refused to let her die under any circumstance. He calculated his odds, believing dungeon resources could amplify his hardened power into something life-saving. Locating the enemy's cores became his goal. Eltikoko stared, shocked by his godlike focus. Now resolved, Fujimura triggered his unique vision, daring his eyes to reveal what others couldn't. Fujimura descended deeper, pushing himself beyond limits, summoning everything his body and will could unleash. With the Tushigan's help, coordinates locked, the clairvoyant began a precise teleportation to intervene. The massive corpse sphere loomed overhead. Survivors below stared upward, frozen by overwhelming dread. A quiet prayer was whispered. The healer focused her energy, willing him to rise again. Tears burst forth as she screamed his name, desperate to awaken Eltiko before impact struck. At the last moment, a device dropped its impact, triggering a pulse that nullified disaster. Fujimura stood proudly, holding the release device. His calm returned, shocking everyone frozen by fear. With a smile, he praised their bravery, acknowledging the fight they had all endured. Tears finally fell freely. His voice eased them, assuring that the nightmare was over. In quiet relief, they shared a moment, no words needed, just exhausted smiles and gratitude. The enemy reeled, overwhelmed by Fujimura's absurd strength. Both martial prowess and advanced healing magic combined. With the battle over, Fujimura announced their next goal, liberating the remaining captives without delay. Allies regrouped while prisoners emerged from tunnels, stunned by freedom and overwhelmed with sudden hope. Fujimura's voice echoed through a megaphone, announcing liberation. The prisoners erupted into cheers and celebration. Chains broken, workers cried with joy. One even proposed marriage. Fujimura could only laugh in surprise. Hidden deep inside a sealed prison chamber, the great sage remained calm and perfectly composed. Despite the isolation, he meditated peacefully, awaiting rescue with the composure of ancient wisdom. Fujimura discovered the cell, disgusted by the captor's cruelty towards such a harmless old man. Lifting him gently, Fujimura rejoined the group, joking he nearly mistook the sage for a statue. Reunited, they laughed as Fujimura teased the sage, while others awaited his ominous spiritual insight. The rescued elder was revealed to be none other than Bonus's legendary great sage himself. Fujimura, stunned by the titles, learned he had saved the nation's most revered maid. In gratitude, the sage prepared a grand magical gesture to honor those who saved him. The once lost great sage returned, greeted by weeping nobles desperate to restore Bonus's peaceful reign. Fujimura watched silently as rescued ministers praised philosopher Bonus's legendary sage. Their last hope revived. Some doubted Philosopher's capture, but he explained a surprise Maguli attack had overwhelmed him while asleep. Though mocked by Fujimura, Philosopher proudly declared surviving the ambush alone proved his unmatched magical mastery. Impressed by Fujimura's party, Philosopher recognized divine talents among them and decided to fully endorse them. Curious and confused, she questioned the term lantern flame, still unaware of her latent gift. The great sage explained the power flames that heal and burn, unique to her mother's bloodline. Shocked by the name, she realized the rare magic belonged to her long-lost mother. Though assumed dead for years, the sage hinted at sightings in a distant Beastman nation. Staring at the map, she whispered, Fanga, heart racing with a newfound glimmer of hope. Fujimura made the decision without hesitation. Their next destination would be the Beast Kingdom. Fanga, moved by his support, she held back tears, hopeful her mother might still be alive. Meanwhile, another comrade resolved to return to Emperizer, determined to rebuild his life with purpose. Despite the threat of execution for desertion, he accepted his fate with surprising calm and clarity. Before parting, he smiled warmly, offering an invitation to join him on a new path. Philosopher offered him redemption, atonement through rebuilding, if he was truly ready to face it. Despite fears of being hunted, he saw truth in their belief he could still help. Even after all he'd lost, the path to redemption remained open if he dared try. Fujimura reminded him, failure wasn't final, just a stepping stone to rise once more. Renewed with purpose, the group departed, each carrying new resolve, scars and bonds unshaken by fear. Suddenly a monstrous enemy appeared above the crater, vowing vengeance with eyes full of hatred. The air thickened with dread as cursed marks ignited, and the warrior sensed overwhelming magic. With a terrifying transformation, the enemy invoked dark powers, summoning monstrous arms from shadowed flame. Now resigned to death, the creature planned to drag everyone into destruction before being hunted. Philosopher revealed the real threat, Illumium, a rogue commander seeking dominion through ancient demonic power. The enemy confessed his scheme drained Bonus's wealth, mass-produce demons, and sabotage the frontline war. Hearing this treachery, the party stood stunned, as power surged violently from the crumbling villain. Even with brute strength returned, Philosopher warned his mana was empty, danger remained at its peak. Desperate and cornered, the villain reached for forbidden arts, invoking life-draining power without hesitation. Ancient necromancy awakened, summoning undead legions from arcane depths, as stunned allies questioned this world's hidden darkness. Fueled by his own life force, he summoned grotesque undead to form an abominable mass. The monstrous cluster expanded endlessly, sacrificing all reason, intent on bringing everything around it to a final end. Horrified witnesses watched as corpses merged into one massive orb, an arcane weapon that corpse pressure. Its size rivaled a meteorite. Panic surged. If dropped, no one would survive its impact. The attack began to descend. The entire labyrinth trembled, collapse imminent. Destruction now fully in motion. The ceiling cracked apart above them. Massive debris threatened collapse. Panic spread. The labyrinth trembled violently beneath. He stepped forward calmly. Though long retired, his old hands still remembered every motion of mastery. Slammed down his tool. A radiant grid expanded. Light wall battle formation shielded everyone instantly. The crowd watched stunned. Alone, he held the collapsing world above. His unwavering spirit stood firm, but power drained fast. Veins pulsed, mana thinning. He endured, groaning, straining until bones cracked from magical recoil. Fujimura steadied her stance, guiding her aim. Their bodies aligned, their strength about to combine. With unflinching calm, he ordered the barrier drop. Shock rippled through the others. Was he serious? The protective wall shattered. Stone fragments crashed down as Fujimura risked everything on precise timing. Power surged through her frame. His voice echoed behind, fueling courage. Invoking the one-armed heroes were resolved now. She shouted back. Confidence surged. Together, they unleashed every round with fierce, perfect precision. Explosions cracked the sky. 6 swirling orbs descended. Fujimura unleashed Voidal Sky. 6-fold devastation. Watching the destruction unfold, the enemy smiled bitterly. Victory wasn't possible, not against that overwhelming force. After the battle, allies regrouped. Exhausted faces and quiet gratitude filled the cavern's recovering silence. A local envoy offered aid and heartfelt thanks. Survivors bowed deeply, pledging support for their journey. Confidence beamed from their leader's grin. With courage proven, he believed they'd conquer anything ahead. Memories of his father's words struck deep. Vito's chest tightened with the weight of purpose. Through sobs, he vowed redemption. Strength would return, and so would he, no longer the same. As calm returned, hunger crept in. The team prepared to head back, but Fujimura froze. Eyes widened. Trembling, he asked the elders a simple, urgent question. What is tobacco exactly? Blank stares met him. Despite elaborate explanation, not one soul knew what cigarettes were. Disappointment swelled. Fujimura slumped, betrayed by chronic pain and dashed hopes of forgotten knowledge. Banter broke out again. Old scars and missing hair couldn't dim this moment's laughter. With clenched resolve, they promised to honor every name, memory, and burden entrusted to them. A genuine smile blossomed at last. Lafril embraced her title, not in name, but in truth. That day, a criminal empire fell. Legends were born, etched into history by unlikely, laughing heroes. In distant shadows, a sinister figure observed. His experiment failed. Disgust for humanity remained intact. Reclining in luxury, he mused about dwarves. One weapon had caught his attention intensely. Ancient blacksmith clans had vanished, their god-defying craft now myth, but their relics still echoed power. He whispered the name behind legends. One figure surpassed them all, the progenitor of the dwarves. That first craftsman, king among kings, had forged destiny itself. The world would remember the name Fujimura. With threats behind them, the group marched onward. A new journey began toward the Grand Dwarf. The forested borderland, Adzuma, separates demon and human territories. Tension rises under an ominous eclipse. A soldier rushes to report the enemy has breached the second defensive gate, without resistance. General Raleigh recalls ironclad Emesta left his post to support another front, exposing the gate. Raleigh confronts a looming demonic commander above the wall, realizing the enemy exploited their weakness deliberately. The demon commander laughs confident, calling Adzuma a land of endless chances, and makes his move. Freedom grins confident, plotting to reclaim the second gate alone for prestige and recognition. While Reliable explains battle strategy, Freedom declares his freelance status and pursuit of battlefield glory. Mocking knights and boasting, Freedom notes even the notorious Heathland mercenary has arrived to compete. Believing Heathland will interfere, Freedom decides to reach the gate first and steal the spotlight. Reliable offers backup, warning of demon generals, but Freedom brushes her off, determined to go solo. Freedom confidently claims legendary status if he succeeds alone, prompting soldiers' doubt and sarcastic remarks. Despite mockery, one soldier quietly admires Freedom's rebellious spirit, mistaking recklessness for inspiring freedom. Without hesitation, Freedom launches into the sky, announcing the beginning of his reckless solo campaign. While Freedom soars ahead laughing, Raleigh watches him veer completely off course from his intended destination. Elsewhere, A king hears Zafat fortress fell in a day rumored caused by a girl. The king immediately recognizes the duo behind Zafat's fall, one with firearm, one youthful. Fujimura returns calmly, greeted with reverence, promising to finish their long-delayed feast someday soon. He offers grilled ray as a gift, but leaves quickly, declining to linger or explain. Elsewhere, Fujimura shows rare magical stones collected from a top trading city with bonuses help. With tools and resources secured, Fujimura prepares for repairs, upgrades, and core experiments awaiting completion. Fujimura tests his rare core extraction ability no one else in the world possesses. Tools ready, he channels his craftsman's spirit into action, determined to prove his worth. Mechanical limbs now gleam with polished precision, the repaired gear signals a major breakthrough. The group gathers to witness the new armaments, astonished by the upgrades Fujimura has delivered. Grateful but pressed for time, Fujimura's team sets off, promising to honor his craftsmanship. The team departs joyfully toward Fanga's White Wolf village. Their next major destination lies ahead. White Wolf tribe is revealed as part of the three great beast tribes, strongest among them. Locals describe the forest as deadly, disappearances frequent, survival belongs only to the truly strong. White wolves are feared not only for power, but their deep hatred toward humans as well. Reaching the jungle's edge, the crew halts vehicle stuck. They prepare to travel onward by foot. The group enters the Great Vern Jungle, an untamed region in Fanga filled with strange life. Fanga's jungle remains largely unmapped, its wild nature and magical beasts still unexplored by mankind. Dangerous beauty hides lethal threats. Strange creatures observe silently from the twisted canopy and jungle floor. Tension rises. They tread cautiously, sensing unseen dangers ahead. Every step forward tightens their nerves. Without warning, raptors ambush them. Fujimura's beast warding stone fails. He's forced to flee for survival. As he struggles, a stranger lifts him easily, ignoring the chaos and questioning his origin. Beasts approach rapidly. He shouts warnings, but the stranger stays calm, unfazed by the threat. Without hesitation, the stranger delivers a powerful blow, killing the beast with a single strike. He silences further protest, declaring himself a negotiator clearly used to danger and controlling tense situations. The party stumbles upon a tiger beast. Fujimura instantly reacts, piercing it mid-attack with precision. Suddenly, hundreds of beast bugs surge from the jungle, surrounding them in a violent, crawling swarm. A calm young warrior steps forward. Her aura shifts, body preparing to unleash something overwhelming. With blinding speed, she dives forward, delivering a devastating superstorm kick into the insect masses. While the elf calmly snacks, others worry. Her reckless overkill drew attention from bigger lurking threats. Fujimura unveiled his invention, battle-ready clothing enchanted with elemental resistance and automatic healing property. Despite lacking tailoring skills, he fused magic stone cores into garments using advanced machining techniques. Shocked by its lightweight feel and power, the knight realized its value rivaled royal treasures. Enemies kept advancing. Calmly, Fujimura instructed a young mage to fire the next loaded shot. The explosion roared across the forest, halting the beast. Brutal force spoke louder than negotiation. Team emerged from the jungle path, sweat-soaked but unharmed, drawing attention from a stranger. Their casual demeanor startled the lone survivor, who demanded answers while they remained eerily unbothered. Holding a shattered beast warding stone, the man sighed. His protection had failed at the worst moment. Introducing himself as Bridge, he revealed his identity: an itinerant blacksmith and peddler traveling the continent. He explained his presence, gathering rare goods, magic stones, and trust by networking through dangerous regions. Bridge revealed a secret: he had finally mapped a complete route to White Wolf Village. The group, intrigued, asked him to become their guide through the dangerous, charm-ridden forest. Privately, Bridge considered their strength a tactical asset, protection he'd lacked during previous solo attempts. An agreement was sealed: Bridge would lead them across Vern's depths to the hidden village. He disclosed his method: teleport stones, long studied, had become his fast travel system through the wilds. Bridge warned of danger: White Wolf lands held riches, but straying from the path meant peril. To merchants, risk invited profit. Securing trade with the wolves meant potential fortune and opportunity. Cresting a ridge, the group beheld vast structures and bones. White Wolf Village had revealed itself. With confidence, Bridge confirmed their destination. This eerie yet majestic settlement was unmistakably the wolves' home. He advised caution: white wolves despised humans. Winning trust would require patience, tact, calculated diplomacy. Ignoring warning, the fearless boy marched ahead, unfazed by danger, driven by unknown purpose. Bridge, now grinning, tightened his pack strap. Their arrival at the ominous gates had begun. They were surrounded. Dozens of towering wolf warriors closed in, axes raised, ready for judgment. Panic surged. With no plan and surrounded, everyone questioned the impulsive move into enemy ground. An elder stepped forward, stunned they'd unknowingly escorted a long-lost white wolf kin back home. The elder council appeared, questioning the group's purpose for trespassing into sacred White Wolf territory. Calmly, the boy explained their reason, returning a kidnapped child and honoring a forgotten connection. Though they accepted the child, the wolves distrusted humans. Departure was demanded without further negotiation. Bridge protested desperately. Barred by spears, he pleaded for a moment to explain their struggle. Elder gestured toward countless weapons, each one a memory of fallen kin, slain by humans. A black dragon, unleashed by humans, massacred innocents, forcing the White Wolves into long exile. At the grave's heart stood Lord Lupus's axe, sacred, damaged, a symbol of lost glory. Weapons carried ancestral meaning. Trampled in human conflict, the axe's defilement cut deeper than death, declaring it broken beyond repair. The elder condemned human clans' trust shattered with generations of pain. But Fujimura grinned. If humans destroyed it, maybe one could restore it and earn trust back. Fullman stared silently at the sacred hill, eyes fixed on the legendary axe above all. His father approached, recognizing the longing in Fullman's gaze, heart pounding, destiny whispering its call. Lord Lupus's axe, said to split earth and slay kings, inspired generations of white wolves. Fullman vowed to grow strong, worthy of the axe of the tribe and their legacy. Years later, Fullman returned determined, the axe broken, yet hope sparked when the Craftsman arrived. Examination revealed rusted metal, shattered core, and lost structure. Restoration seemed utterly impossible now. Suddenly, his eye glowed. The mysterious ability 40 Enjosek saved analysis activated, revealing intricate hidden pattern. Without hesitation, he identified rare materials, crystallized ground cores and levitating stone fragments embedded deep inside. Confidently, he promised a full restoration. His sharp gaze stunned even the village elders' doubt. Whispers spread quickly. Was he bluffing? A day's work sounded laughable to the skeptical onlookers. The elder warned harshly if restoration failed, consequences would fall hard on the challenger's shoulders. Without fear, the craftsman agreed. The village gasped as he summoned a spatial toolset. Grinning, he strapped on gear. Sparks would fly. His welding mastery was about to begin. Arc welding started. Electricity arced between metal, fusing material through intense, precise electrical heat. Every groove was prepped with care, rust cleared, joints shaped for strength and seamless fusion. Sparks burst fiercely. He warned them. Intense light flared while deft hands controlled the flame. Curious wolves watched behind safety masks. Voltage increased, depth measured. Multiple weld passes were planned. A brilliant surge erupted. White-hot arcs ignited the workshop. True welding had finally begun. Lightning roared through steel. Full penetration welding began. Molten metal flowed, securing strength without backing support. Precision guided his hand, adjusting rod speed, height and arc movement perfected the molten seam. Slag removal began. He increased current, weaved steadily, layering molten metal with precise control. Each pass formed a perfect weld bead, solid, even ridges marking flawless metal flow. Around the axe's curve, welds were tacked, rust cleared, and finishing touches polished beautifully. Confidently, he addressed the magic stone. With outside help, replenishment was already underway. Meanwhile, a goblin elder in Hot Springs received a surprise transmission from the boy. With urgency, he contacted the sage, detailed a material list, and awaited immediate stone prep. The team was stunned. A young boy casually speaking to Bonus's highest sage felt unreal. Everyone, from mages to warriors, marveled. That magical earring communication rare, unknown, and incredibly useful. As the stones were sourced, he resumed work. Final detailing and reinforcement needed careful sealing. At last, he raised the weapon high. Repair complete. The legendary axe lived again. Fullman returned to the hilltop. Eyes wide with joy, the legendary axe stood reborn, gleaming brilliantly. The axe radiated power once lost. Every groove shimmered with refined strength. The villagers gazed in awe. The restoration surpassed memory. It was art, legacy, and miracle combined. Whispers turned to reverence. One day, one man, godlike skill, an impossible task made reality. Overwhelmed, the proud warrior collapsed in gratitude. A new master of miracles had emerged. Humbled by skill and spirit, the blacksmith's rival begged to become his devoted disciple. In return, the village offered him full passage and protection under the White Wolf name. The elder acknowledged the favor. Villagers vowed never to forget the restoration and its legacy. Calmly, he revealed the truth: no magic involved, only pure craftsmanship guided by human ingenuity. The village elder declared eternal gratitude, granting them free passage for aiding during grave danger. Fujimura and his team stood proudly, their faces hopeful after earning the tribe's deep trust. Suddenly, the elder's expression turned grave. News had arrived. their timing here was terribly unfortunate. He explained the village was fractured tradition versus radicalism, tensions rising toward unavoidable internal war. A warrior revealed shocking news: a child's parent, a radical, had fallen to enemy forces. Blood soaked the ground, an enormous beast had been slain, its body pierced, brutal force. Lagun recognized the axe undeniably from the radicals, abandoned as a mocking signature gesture. Fujimura stayed calm, observing reactions, then decided it was time to confront the radicals directly. Despite dire warnings and fearful glances, he learned of a distant village harboring the Flame Princess. The name struck one companion's silent memories stirred, unease growing with the mention of that title. Once revered for heroism, the Flame Princess had now become leader of the radical uprising. Speculation arose: perhaps her past heroism was a calculated ruse to gain future power. The group resolved to uncover the truth, determined to meet her despite all warning. To aid their mission, the elder assigned Shaga, the village's strongest warrior, as their loyal guide. Unexpectedly, another warrior joined with dreams of fame, seeing Fujimura's group as a golden opportunity. Banter filled the air, but tension lingered. Danger loomed beneath the surface of their journey. Towering structures emerged through dense mist. The heart of the radicals' domain revealed its scale. Cautiously, the group observed from a hidden ridge, weighing the risks of moving closer. As they prepared, the girl admitted doubts: whoever awaited them likely wasn't her real mother. Confidently, she declared the truth: that her peace-loving mother wouldn't lead a faction into war. Fujimura proposed drawing her out. If she claimed the name, she must reveal the truth. With a spin, his custom tool activated. Crafted precision set the trap for confrontation ahead. A massive shockwave erupted, shaking the earth, marking the start of their bold provocation. The weapon landed hard, echoing through the battlefield. Eyes narrowed. Someone had responded to the challenge. Emerging from smoke, a masked warrior wielding twin axes descended, powerful, silent, unmistakably commanding presence. The masked warrior growled low, tension thick in the air, eyes locked on her target. Watching from above, an ally silently signaled enemy movement had begun between the towering roots. Suddenly, she launched herself forward, spinning midair, her massive weight bearing down like a missile. Impact exploded as she collided with Fujimura, axes clashing against reinforced metal in a flash. Shaga leapt into battle, intercepting her next strike, while Fujimura steadied himself through trembling arms. With a blinding clash, the warrior unleashed fury, raw strength, forcing both opponents back violently. From the shadows, another enemy watched silently, observing Fujimura's actions with unsettling calmness and calculation. Fujimura warned his allies the enemy wasn't ordinary, and even he felt the pressure mount. Suddenly, the battlefield shifted. Dozens of warriors emerged, surrounding the leader, their numbers now overwhelmingly vast. Recognition flickered. Shaga's name echoed from the masked leader's mouth, stirring questions in everyone's heart. The masked leader mocked the trembling girl, labeling her the disgrace of the White Wolf. Fujimura snapped, calling out the insult, refusing to let the cruelty pass without resistance. Tears streamed down her face as the word "mama" escaped, fragile and full of pain. Confusion and silence followed. Fujimura froze, stunned by the word as memories stirred behind stern eyes. A sudden disappearance, her voice echoed through the void, calling desperately into the thick jungle mist. The child searches the battlefield for her mother, but finds only silence and destruction instead. She approaches the towering white wolves, accused of betrayal and cowardice for fleeing her homeland. Their leader Luna Lua declares her exile, rejecting her as a disgrace to their tribe. With emotionless finality, Luna Lua severs their bond and unleashes force, banishing the child violently. Observers watch uncomfortably as the clan's judgment unfolds, disgusted by the cruelty of her punishment. Another warrior steps forward, defending the child's struggle and urging the mother to show compassion. Luna Lua sneers coldly, mocking the plea and daring anyone to challenge her authority directly. Surrounded by elite guards, the child hesitates, offering to negotiate before violence erupts once again. A masked soldier shuts down diplomacy, recalling past betrayals and blaming the enemy for bloodshed. Mocking their weakness, the leader belittles the survivors, claiming only cowards escape death in the forest. Tensions remain unresolved. Both factions agree to settle their conflict at the upcoming leadership contest. With pride on the line, Luna Lua promises to prove her clan's legitimacy through the challenge. The group withdraws cautiously, leaving behind threats and unspoken truths under the watchful moonlight. One companion realizes they forgot to ask about the Flame Princess amid all the chaos. The rules are clear: 4 will battle, 1 will reign, the rest must kneel in defeat. Even victory may bring bloodshed, prompting the elder's warning to avoid involvement altogether. Despite repeated warnings, the group refuses to leave, claiming the matter affects more than just wolves. Stubborn yet confident, he insists on staying to unravel the mystery surrounding the girls' mothers. As the full moon rises, the White Wolves assemble, ready for their sacred leadership duel. Both factions gather beneath the moonlight, tension high, as the decisive moment draws dangerously near. A colossal arena emerges, bristling with anticipation, as spectators await the fateful leadership showdown. All eyes turn as the Rady faction arrives, their presence dark and ominous atop stone. At the center, the mysterious Flame Princess lounges confidently, watching the contest begin with interest. Across the battlefield, tension builds. One girl gulps nervously as an axe-bearer approaches with purpose. A herald raises his weapon high, officially launching the brutal 4-on-4 representative clan battle. According to ancient code, the royal command must be honored. No warrior may disobey its will. From the traditionalist faction, 4 powerful fighters Kagaki, Lagan, Shaga, and their leader step into the arena, representing the radicals are Jija, Amoru, Vigil, and unexpectedly, the frail elder known as Fujimura. To everyone's shock, the final combatant enters none other than the mysterious Flame Princess herself. Watching silently, the child trembles as her estranged mother stares, unreadable behind her battle mask. Jija ignores warnings, accepting bloodshed if necessary, even if it endangers the daughter he once lost. Regret anchors his resolve. He believes her hatred justified, his support long forfeited and unwelcome. Bound by duty, both sides steel themselves to fight under the Flame Princess's command. Vigil, the radical's towering brute, enters first, surging with unmatched strength and pride for his village. As tension peaks, the traditionalists send forth their challenger to meet Vigil's wrath in combat. Fujimura enters the arena confidently, pipe wrench in hand, introducing himself before stunned onlookers. Disbelief spreads as he's hurled into battle, disrupting tradition and alarming both factions equally. Without hesitation, Fujimura strikes Vigil down, silencing the crowd and escalating tensions in the arena. Declaring a new challenge, he dares every contender to fight him alone. Winner takes the throne. The masked challenger declared a sudden rule change, daring everyone to survive against him alone. With fearless eyes and a pipe in hand, the boy stood tall and challenged fate. His allies froze in shock, believing their leader had finally gone insane from pressure. Enemies descended from above, ordered to capture him at all costs, no matter what. But with explosive force he knocked them away, revealing unexpected strength hidden in his defiance. The elder shouted furiously, unable to understand why Fujimura challenged the tribe's authority so recklessly. Fujimura mocked at the elder, landing a blow that rattled the mask and silenced the crowd. Nearby warriors watched in disbelief, murmuring their fear as they acknowledged Fujimura's overwhelming strength rising. From across the field, Amuro charged with fury, blade arm swinging fast toward the young craftsman. Before impact, a mysterious figure crashed down, striking Amuro with divine power and halting the battle. The elf woman scolded her comrade, reminding him that protecting the girl was his responsibility. As panic spread, a white wolf warrior charged in, ignoring the match's clearly defined rules. Their sudden attack failed. Blades bounced off enchanted robes, leaving them confused and momentarily stunned. Fujimura, unfazed, explained their resilience came from specialized gear, denying requests for new equipment mid-battle. With weapons failing, a wolf brute lunged forward, preparing to crush his opponents using brute force. Fujimura noted Pip's involvement. Just before the enemy grabbed both girls in a surprise move, one warrior halted mid-attack, recognizing Frau as Pip's friend, and launched her to safety instead. With a massive impact, Pip landed a blow that stunned allies and enemies alike with power. Fujimura explained Pip's strength, noting how she escaped her curse and fled captivity all alone. Suddenly, metallic projectiles cut through the air, catching the attention of everyone mid-battle. Weapons clashed again as Fujimura and the elf warrior prepared to face the next threat. Seeing the opponent's strength, Fujimura stepped back. He told the others to let stronger fighters through. 2 powerful white wolf warriors stepped forward. They were determined to end the conflict themselves. Though once rivals, they now united. Both understood their clan's survival depended on this alliance. Cheers erupted. The legendary white wolf duo Jaga and Jija had returned to fight as one again. A stunned observer noted how the team's morale surged the moment the 2 warriors appeared. Jaga and Jija knelt simultaneously, preparing their strongest joint attack. The legendary white wolf shot, their claws hardened with rock, dense as diamond, ready to channel a devastating mana burst. With deafening force, the twin warriors launched the attack, boasting its power could crush mountains. Fujimura and the elf calmly faced the approaching blast, their magic already preparing to counter. With perfect coordination, the elf delivered a powerful kick. As Fujimura redirected the incoming blast, the white wolf stood frozen, watching their strongest attack get nullified before reaching its target. Shockwaves erupted across the battlefield. Their attack had backfired, sending panicked warriors flying in every direction. Fujimura sheathed his tool calmly, remarking the enemy's technique lacked control despite its overwhelming force. Confident and unfazed, Fujimura declared their counter-strike team stronger, daring the enemy to try harder next time. Fujimura casually walked away, reflecting on imperfection, while distant voices mocked his relaxed attitude mid-battle. Suddenly, a new masked figure appeared, taunting Fujimura with arrogance from atop a towering throne. A silent glare cut through the distance as the masked leader grew visibly provoked by words. Fujimura challenged the masked enemy directly, daring him to descend and fight without hiding behind theatrics. He raised his weapon confidently, declaring his only offering would be a hammer forged from iron. Bro watches her mother walk into the fields again, unsure why she always leaves. Her mother gently embraces her, explaining that many distant people need help and protection now. With resolve in her eyes, the mother states it's her duty to save lives. Smiling through concern, Bro nods proudly, remembering her mother's unmatched strength and unshakable courage. Far away, a massive enemy waits atop a cliff, mocking the moon and demanding battle. Instead of prayers, she presents forged iron, prepared to battle with nothing but raw craftsmanship. Mocked by a demonic warrior, Fro watches in horror as her mother's strength is dismissed. Suddenly, power surges as her mother releases immense energy, shaking the ground with magical force. Mysterious masked warriors silently appear, invoking ancient rites as one mutters regretfully. The fool's transformation erupts muscle, fang, and fur emerge. Beastification grants power, sacrificing humanity for brutal primal strength. With quiet confidence, he steps forward, ordering Naginigi to stand back and watch the lesson. Before anyone reacts, his hammer strikes. A beastified warrior is launched violently through the air. The ground splits under pressure as his overwhelming strength smashes forward, forcing enemies into retreat. Unshaken by their monstrous size, he plants his feet and readies himself for another clash. Suddenly, a wall of sharpened projectiles rains down, closing in like a cage of blades. Shouts erupt from the beastmen camp as their strongest warrior, Shigajia, charges with blinding rage. From every direction, beastified soldiers close in coordinated, brutal, overwhelming their confidence unshaken by the odds. Claws slice through the air, but the blacksmith calmly shifts, their hammer untouched by chaos. Just before impact, they vanish midair, slipping dimensions with a smirk, surprising even the savage elite. Nails embedded in skulls, silence followed. The beast freeze, realizing too late they've been precisely dismantled. With a brutal swing, he slams the hammer down. Beasts collapse under the forceful blow. One after another, skulls shatter. No hesitation, he walks forward while enemies fall behind. Amid falling rubble, he pauses calmly. Smoke clears. His voice cuts through. Next, a silent stare spreads across the battlefield. Even seasoned warriors hesitate before making another move. Doubt creeps in. What is this boy's origin? Could he rival the Soluan bloodline? A massive warrior emerges beside the masked strategist, casting a long shadow over the battlefield. Hushed gasps spread, blood drips from the strategist's mouth. He collapses, eyes wide in disbelief. Recognition dawns. The surviving beastmen tremble. That towering figure, Lagon, is a nightmare even among monsters. Someone yells in panic, "Young lassie, run!" Confusion brews as Lagon attacks his own side. With a smirk, the blacksmith reveals the truth: he already killed the real mask-wearing commander. A cloaked demon named Alumumi appears, announcing allegiance to Lord Telzero, a high-ranking demon general. His title shocks nearby fighters, but the blacksmith remains unimpressed by rank or military status. Determined and undeterred, the blacksmith prepares himself mentally, intending to strike Alumumi without hesitation or fear. Under the glowing moon, Fujimura finds a collapsed girl while two strangers approach suspiciously nearby. The taller man steps forward, revealing himself as Demon Division Commander Ilumlumu, expression cold and unreadable. Ilumlumu mocks their interference, referencing a previous disruption at Bonus, clearly displeased by their persistence. Fujimura's ally questions him, but Ilumlumi confirms he's connected to Bonus and everything surrounding its destruction. Ilumlumi confesses proudly every dark experiment, every kidnapping, every weapon he orchestrated, it all from the shadows, and he admits unleashing the dragon and instigating massacre, proudly claiming full responsibility for the village's ruin. He reveals the plan: divide the village, observe collapse, then scale the experiment nationally if successful. Targeting Lupus's homeland, Ilumumi aimed to weaken resistance, ensuring revenge against demons could never succeed. Beastmen fell easily to manipulation. Promises of power and war seduced them into obedient pawns. But success hinged on his partner Vice Commander's flawless acting completed the deception perfectly from within. A twisted figure questions their judgment, arguing it's premature to call the operation a failure. According to the 5th Division Vice Commander, Eliminating humans would allow endless resets without consequence. Laughter echoes as Illumumi brushes off the plan, calling it tiresome, preparing something far worse. Eyes wide with madness, he smirks, enticed by a new group of promising, chaotic playthings. Without restraint, he unleashes the Fifth Division, an overwhelming demon horde erupting across the battlefield in chaos. A towering demon swings its arm with inhuman speed, summoning an army of brutal clones. From its gaping mouth, monstrous shrieks burst forth, shocking the girl as skulls explode midair. With chilling resolve, Illumumi announces the blood banquet. One demon lunges, demanding its enemy's head. Dark liquid spills as the demon's head erupts. One warrior watches, unsettled by the gruesome ritual. Through sacrifice and twisted science, Illumumi reveals his goal, creating hybrids born from fallen demon commander. Mocking the elf's imperfection, the woman praises her controllable creations, products of refined research from Bonus. Black ooze erupts violently. Clawed limbs burst upward as something massive claws through the battlefield floor. From the swirling sky, an enormous creature descends. Eyes widen, its presence causes sheer, primal terror. Illumumi introduces it with reverence: Demon Dragon Ronaga, the same name that cursed the village's past. With a roar that splits the heavens, Ronaga lands. Dust explodes. The ground trembles beneath chaos. Watching the colossal beast rise, one villager falls to despair, certain their homeland has perished. Unfazed, the girl steps forward. She claims the fight, promising to break the monster's skull. Turning to Fujimura, she affirms their alliance, now fighting together with trust forged through survival. She reminds him this isn't just his battle anymore. Their unity stands strong under moonlight. Memories flash: friends from the workshop, proud craftsman who shaped his past, now fueling his resolve. Fujimura reflects, quiet, his silence heavy, until conviction hardens, acknowledging the truth within her word. Determined eyes narrow, flames flicker across his scar. A new plan begins forming without hesitation. With allies gathered, he steps forward, ready to prove what Fujimura manufacturing can truly accomplish together. Fujimura stood alone under the moonlight, facing the beast, unsure if trust existed yet. His companions appeared without hesitation, reminding him that he never had to stand alone anymore. The enemy observed them cautiously, puzzled by their bravery despite overwhelming odds and monstrous threats ahead. Together they charged forward, blades drawn and resolve firm, ready to challenge the grotesque enemy force. Their enemies sensed danger, especially from Fujimura, whose mysterious technology disrupted the world's balance and order. The enemy had planned this moment from the beginning, waiting silently within the forest's shadows. Smiling darkly, he declared his intent to dismantle their unity, targeting their strength together. A massive magic circle activated beneath them, catching the group off guard with sudden precision. Without warning, energy surged upward, scattering them through space. Their startled faces confirmed the spell's success. Now alone, Fujimura faced ancient ruins ahead, sensing another threat hidden in the eerie silence. Their separation was now complete. Fujimura stood alone, facing the mastermind behind this cruel strategy. Although still within the Great Vern jungle, the enemy confirmed Fujimura's complete isolation from allies. Meanwhile, the others regained consciousness. Realizing the split, they scanned their surroundings with tense anticipation. A grotesque creature emerged before them, massive and alien, blocking escape, with an overwhelming monstrous presence. Nearby, a colossal skull lay silent, evidence of past battles lost to similar monstrous beasts. Suddenly, a powerful figure emerged atop a peak, summoning an army of monstrous armored soldiers. While Fujimura remained isolated, concern for his allies surfaced, though he masked it quickly. The enemy revealed Fujimura's limits. Movement required coordinates only known through allies or previous travel points. Realizing the delay, Fujimura activated a communication device, addressing his team from afar with urgency. Back in the jungle, his allies received the message, alarmed but encouraged by his word. Before attacking, Fujimura asked one final question, gauging the enemy's rank among the demon forces. Without hesitation, the enemy claimed the title of strongest, boasting his authority as a division commander. Gripping his tools tightly, Fujimura welcomed the challenge of removing the jungle's greatest existing threat. Despite being alone, he smiled. Facing the strongest opponent made this fight worth every risk. Power surged through his body, activating Second Gate. Fujimura prepared to battle at full strength. Tools transformed midair, one rounded, one pointed, signaling Fujimura's attack was about to begin. Rather than stall, Fujimura chose full force, intent on ending the battle with a single blow. Intrigued, the enemy activated a monstrous transformation, eager to witness his strange weapon at work. Fujimura launched himself forward. The enemy smiled, already preparing a spatial spell. Transition was whispered. Just before the strike landed, the enemy vanished, laughing, dodging impact with a perfectly timed warp. Fujimura's chisel impact struck clean, slamming into the monster's chest with explosive, devastating force. The shockwave echoed through the jungle, shaking the temple grounds beneath the moonlit night sky. Allies far away felt the tremor, realizing Fujimura had landed a serious blow against his foe. Though impressed, Fujimura stayed focused. His attack had done damage, but the enemy wasn't finished. Regenerating rapidly, the enemy mocked him. Surviving required full destruction, not a single powerful strike alone. Despite losing an arm, the enemy stood unshaken, confirming his classification as commander-class threat. Fujimura acknowledged the truth. Among all enemies faced, this one was undoubtedly the strongest yet. Fujimura scanned the battlefield, recognizing this opponent as unlike any he had faced before. The enemy's towering presence radiated raw power, more terrifying than anyone Fujimura had ever encountered. He strategized fast, constant blows to drain mana was his only shot at survival. Understanding the rules, he committed whoever exhausted their mana first would collapse in defeat. Smiling, the enemy summoned monstrous reinforcements, escalating the battle into a chaotic magical performance state. The enemy conjured a black orb, threatening to erase weaklings from the battlefield completely. A surge of dark energy, black blood, exploded, striking the beast before it could react. Without hesitation, Fujimura leapt, grabbing the beast mid-air as destruction rained behind them violently. Desperation rising, he shouted at the relic, urging it to activate before death arrived. At last, the relic responded, launching them away, leaving Fujimura stunned by its unexpected intervention. The monstrous Magu swallowed the creature whole, erasing its presence in one horrifying chomp. Mocking laughter echoed as the enemy claimed humans were fools for relying on weak bond. Shocked eyes wide from within the beast remains, another entity emerged alive, aware and watching. Unexpectedly, Fujimura's markings glowed. There wasn't one creature, but two, hidden, powerful, and now awakened. Smirking, the enemy revealed Magu's secret: steals mana completely, rendering targets utterly powerless. The enemy smirked, warning that destroying the curse's source required defeating him first. With teleportation blocked and mana drained, Fujimura calculated his options under restrictive Magula conditions. The opponent acknowledged one ability could break their stalemate, a power even he feared. Still, with movement restricted to the forest, he believed escape would be impossible anyway. Fujimura searched for a solution, confirming his eye power remained functional despite all constraints. Under twin moons, Fujimura faced a twisted foe who called him a valuable experiment subject. Powerless and cornered, Fujimura endured ridicule as enemies dismissed him and targeted his weakened allies. The Black Dragon team, monstrous and disciplined, assembled before their towering plant beast commander for war. White wolves, masked and fierce, launched a charge, determined to defend their crumbling village together. Sensing deadly danger, the elven warrior shouted, urging immediate retreat before destruction consumed the battlefield. The towering dragon unleashed Black Breath Melanpugzu, dark energy ripping through space with violent force. A deadly blast struck the mushroom platform, launching shockwaves as the white wolves watched in horror. Cracks spread across the structure. Even seasoned warriors trembled at the devastating might now unfolding below. With mechanical precision, the young marksman raised his arm, preparing to counter with a calculated shot. To their surprise, the fired object soared, transforming mid-air as the enemy prepared for retaliation. With fury ignited, Fujimura launched Bakuin Fujimura, a blazing counterattack tearing through enemy formation. His fiery strike surged through the sky, colliding with the dragon midair under the moonlight. The creature narrowly evaded him. Observers watched stunned, realizing the beast could react with intelligence. A retreating figure pulled the shooter away as a dark beam surged in their direction. Platform crumbled. Eltiko's leg was struck. She vanished quickly, masking the pain with speed. The strategist observed coldly, certain that platform or people either would face inevitable destruction soon. Elsewhere, a new threat mocked the White Wolf trio, underestimating their strength and survival. The mother, already transformed once, erupted again into beast mode, her control slipping each time. Her daughter watched in horror, realizing the transformation might be permanent. Her mother was lost. The mother's transformation worsened. Her monstrous instincts grew, making her increasingly unrecognizable to everyone around. Even as her sanity slipped, a fading memory of someone precious flickered within her mind. She recalled peaceful days under the sun, but duty called her back to the mask. Delna was scolded for unmasking the battlefield's code, demanded anonymity and unwavering warrior discipline. Yet, defying norms, Delna challenged tradition, inviting truth and vulnerability behind scars both seen and hidden. Delna, proud warrior of noble blood, stood strong, husband, father, and protector of their village. The village burned. Delna died shielding his family, collapsing with wounds too grave to survive. Their daughter cried. His partner screamed desperately, willing him to rise, refusing to accept the loss. With fading breath, Delna urged them forward, His final plea: protect Lunaluya and carry his share. In his memory, she vowed Lunaluya would become the strongest warrior among all who lived. Under the relentless sun, training began. No rest, only repetition, sweat, and discipline beneath swaying trees. Lunaluya ran toward her mother with joy. A spark of talent had already awakened. A sudden blow struck her down. She gasped, shocked by the force of tough love. Compassion was cast aside. Each command carried weight. Her mother demanded strength, not comfort or tears. Beneath the mask, guilt festered. She had become a monster in her daughter's innocent eye. From the shadows, a monstrous maw emerged, ripping the child away while the mother stood frozen. Pain surged as she screamed, confused why her daughter chose now to call her mother. Terror surged forward. Without hesitation, she bolted into danger, monsters grinning, jaws wide, threatening everything she loved. Rage and desperation merged. Her claws struck down, shattering bone and darkness to reach her child. In that moment, emotion overwhelmed her. Strength cracked, revealing sorrow buried beneath layers of hardened resolve. Voices echoed warning. Her grip on sanity slipped as instincts threatened to overtake maternal reason. Suddenly, otherworldly beings intervened. One commanded silence, curious, observing the fragile bond between mother and child. Mocking words followed. They relished her fall, searching endlessly, only to harm what she loved most. They celebrated tragedy, framing it as theater daughter slain by the very mother who once swore protection. But truth struck hard. Another's voice challenged her despair, reminding her of Lunaluya's unseen journey. Driven by desperation, she lunged with all her might, ready to drag the enemy down. An old face emerged. She greeted her opponent with a smirk, memories surfacing behind the scar. Her wild laughter echoed. The enemy froze, eye twitching in disbelief at her unshaken defiance. With steel nerves, she confronted the beast. Her calm presence disrupted its fury mid-charge. Mockery followed. Yet beneath the taunts, he saw her logic untouched. Even in madness, she was struck mid-air, bound by dark tendrils, memories twisted into weapons against her resolve. From spilled blood, the enemy unearthed memories, replicating voices, faces, even feelings she once held dear. Although injured, she survived. However, that survival only accelerated the uncontrollable transformation inside her body. Beastification advanced rapidly. Sensory awareness dimmed. Thoughts dissolved. Rationality collapsed. The point of no return arrived. Now fully awakened, the beast knelt, breathing heavy, instincts ruling over whatever remained of her humanity. A plea was shouted desperately, urging her back, though the beast's rage had already consumed reason. Watching hopelessly, they declared her unreachable, her transformation complete. A feast of destruction was imminent. Despite the chaos, Peep charged ahead, believing their bond could pierce even the deepest madness. Horrors blocked the path. Shrieking wildly, Peep ran faster, refusing to let fear control her. Chaos erupted. Even the enemy lamented. Bloodlust disrupted the performance they'd orchestrated with perverse delight. Memories of motherhood resurfaced, gentle moments, family warmth stirring something buried deep within the beast's heart. In a sudden motion, the beast embraced her daughter tightly, protecting her from the incoming threat. The beast's eyes shifted. Observers noticed it, a spark of clarity fighting through the monstrous shell. The beast woman collapses, bloodied but alive. Her child watches silently, surrounded by fading enemies' remnant. A crazed observer marvels at her strength, awed by maternal instinct, overpowering monstrous transformation and rage. She protected her daughter even while feral. Now wounded, she quietly breathes among vanishing spirits. Her monstrous eyes shine with pain but resolve. She endured agony only to keep Luna safe. Dying, she whispers Luna's name. Apologizing, her voice cracks, love stronger than instincts sorrowfully fading away. She blamed herself for everything, failing to protect, failing to listen, failing to understand earlier. The memory of fleeing resurfaces. She left her mother behind to chase unknown freedom alone. Even during separation, her heart remained tied to home, haunted by guilt, filled with longing. Finally, she weeps openly, grief, love, regret converging. She clutches her mother's keepsake with trembling hands. Tears fall as she confesses everything she only ever wanted to return to her. With death approaching, the mother chooses sacrifice. Her final strength will ensure her daughter lives. She can no longer speak. Her body fails, but her will remains, focused on protecting. In one final act, her body is impaled, giving all that remained without hesitation or fear. Her beast form lost, she collapses. The enemy, cold and calculating, discards her broken form. A new weapon activates. The daughter stares wide-eyed, faced with a rising threat from above. Crimson strands flicker into view. Confusion spreads as the enemy recognizes a long-forgotten terror wake. Legends resurface. The feared beastman from the White Wolf tribe once crippled a demon general, Energy surges through her. Strength returns with inherited will. Her strike answers the enemy's growing fear. Axe in hand, her bloodlust shakes the monster. Ancient memories echo through its fractured mind. Driven by vengeance, she unleashes fury. The crimson white wolf of legend rises once more. After delivering her strike, she holds her fallen mother close, mourning the irreversible loss quiet. A final message passes from mother to daughter. Legacy awakened. Destiny now belongs to Luna. The monstrous enemy prepares, fully transforming. It acknowledges Luna as a serious threat to command. Insults are hurled. The enemy mocks her lineage, bragging of killing her mother without remorse. Luna launches forward, fury blazing. Her axe cuts through the air, aimed directly at the core. Pieces of the enemy fall apart. Luna's devastating strike ends the creature in violent collapse. Before anyone reacts, she commands urgency. Another presence has emerged, dangerous and fast approaching from afar. With fierce determination, Luna leaps ahead. Her resolve hardens. She refuses to lose anyone else. A distant observer watches, amused. He acknowledges the rise of a legend, born from chaos. A massive foe appears. Luna senses danger, readying herself. The fight isn't over, not even close. Massive army emerges. Luna and her group face overwhelming enemies, advancing without hesitation. Panic spreads. The enemies multiply endlessly, but allies steel themselves, each remembering their purpose and bond. Peep steps forward confidently. This time, she will fight to protect Fuji with her own strength. From above, a winged beast split the sky. Chaos erupted as the ground tore open. Without warning, its massive tail crashed down, only to meet resistance from an unnatural, blooming monstrosity. Despite the direct hit, the creature stood firm. Dark energy surged violently toward the defender's ranks. Eltico faltered, blood dripping slowly. Her name echoed behind her as fear overtook the others. Amidst rising smoke, a glowing pod spiraled skyward. The dragon watched round 2 had already begun. A colossal wave of dark energy erupted, stretching outward, obliterating everything caught in its path. Skeletal remains and shattered bodies rained down as the storm carved devastation through enemy ranks. Tremors shook the battlefield. Nearby platforms began collapsing while survivors scrambled to escape collapsing terrain. With a fierce cry, she launched forward, unleashing her superstorm kick into the void ahead. Momentum carried her skyward. The beast reeled back, caught off guard as her strike tore forward. Eltico staggered, bloodied but standing, her breathing heavy, resolve unshaken as the dust settled violently. Though unsteady, she shielded her ally. They realized her strength was draining fast in that body. Panic grew. Ammunition ran low. A teammate discovered a momentary delay after the monster's flame burst. They agreed striking during the pause was risky, but it was their only real chance. A towering warrior stepped forward. Determined, he'd draw the fire, his body built for brutal distraction. Once mocked for his size, Viguel now stood tall, ready to protect what truly mattered. Before departing, he offered a firm fist bump, his final request, lingering in the silence. Unexpectedly, his arm was grabbed, bones cracked. The enemy's grip tightened with monstrous, inhuman strength. Calmly stepping forward, Eltico intervened. Her voice cut through tension. "But step aside, this one's mine." Bloodied but confident, she declared herself strongest, determined to endure the enemy's full power alone. Eltico raised her hand, focusing wind energy. Confidence returned. She planned to endure the impact. Frau's hand trembled as she tightened her grip, eyes locked with rising, quiet determination. With resolve restored, Frau vowed to stay. No matter what, she would heal Eltico. Hovering midair, Eltico confronted the threat. Black tendrils lashed around her, hungry for destruction. The monstrous bloom gathered energy, forming a swirling black sphere. The final attack was nearing completion. High above, the enemy watched in mock. He commanded the next volley without hesitation. Shoot them down. Dark energy surged once more, slicing space itself, its target the defenders preparing for counterstrike. Horrified, the girl screamed as the charged sphere reached its peak, too powerful to fully block. The impact landed with devastating force. Everything a shockwave tore through cloud, space, and resolve. Bloodied yet standing, Frau whispered, "I am your shield." As the world blurred around her, a command echoed across the field. Without hesitation, the final shot was fired downward. The enemy's core erupted violently. Energy cracked the air as dark matter ignited in flame. Falling from the sky, Eltico was caught mid-air, her body limp, strength completely drained. Frau rushed forward, eyes wide with panic. Eltico collapsed in her arm, unresponsive and cold. With a faint smile, Eltico whispered her last words. The battle was finally over. Eltico embraced Frau tightly. Relief spread among allies as smoke cleared across the broken battlefield. Amid celebration, cracks formed beneath their feet. The team prepared to evacuate before collapse struck. Frau halted mid-step, her eyes widened in shock, Something terrifying had survived the final blow. The creature re-emerged, wounded but alive. Their strongest attack failed. A new threat was rising again. Fujimura's strongest blast failed. The monstrous plant regenerated instantly, leaving Fra terrified and stunned in disbelief. The dark enemy mocked their efforts. The failed attack confirmed their opponent's terrifying, unmatched regenerative power. In the forest, strange floating eyes appeared. They launched an ambush, grabbing their next target mid-air. Massive jaws lunged. The beast slashed through the vines, shielding Fra before the enemy overwhelmed him. Just before the killing blow, Fujimura struck back. The enemy's core shattered, surprising both friend and foe. The villain taunted her limits, claiming her awakened power would soon collapse under its own strain. Without hesitation, she charged forward. Her fury broke through, but the enemy reacted faster than expected. A monstrous hand seized her midair. Her momentum halted as panic rose in everyone's eyes. Promising a slow end, the foe declared he'd savor her suffering after destroying her companions completely. Holding victory in his grasp, he mocked her defeat while preparing a strange, ominous device. Rocks exploded as the villain unleashed dark energy, laughing maniacally while power surged through his body. While distracted, he failed to notice the elder regaining strength, standing firm against overwhelming magical presence. With defiance, the old warrior revealed his true strength, the hidden legacy of the White Wolf. Though gravely wounded, he passed his resolve on. She swore to protect their village's honor. Drawing energy from sorrow and courage, she charged upward while his monstrous limbs tried to intercept. Grinning with renewed spirit, she praised her elder, finally recognizing his true worth in battle. Suddenly, the enemy's monstrous arm began to fracture, signaling a hidden blow had taken effect. Realization dawned her allies' trick had worked. The enemy acknowledged being outplayed by an underestimated veteran. Though fatigue crept in, she activated her third gate, sacrificing reserves for one decisive counterattack. With power concentrated, she launched a fierce strike, declaring it was time for his defeat. The enemy collapsed, eyes wide, his body convulsed unnaturally as the final blow fully landed. A massive shockwave surged outward. Forests trembled as destruction swept the battlefield in a rolling quake. Breathing heavily, she outlined their next move: regroup, assess, and initiate fallback strategy before collapse. But pain surged suddenly. His body couldn't withstand the third gate. Sinews tore with every heartbeat. His vision blurred, sound faded, darkness crept in while his comrade watched helplessly from nearby. Somewhere deep within the void, a mysterious door appeared, calling to him from beyond consciousness. A strange voice echoed, unseen and powerful. It refused to let him die so easily. Awakening suddenly, he gasped. The elder cried with joy, confused by the miraculous recovery unfolding. Power gathered beneath his hand. The battlefield shifted, warping space as his presence reignited with force. Not only restored, he felt stronger. Energy surged wildly, far beyond anything he'd accessed before now. Without hesitation, she grabbed her comrade. Before the enemy revived, she planned a full retreat. Determined to help the others, she pushed forward, ready to break through every obstacle ahead. Fujimura tumbles down the forest slope, landing hard inside a shadowy pit surrounded by insect legs. Horrific creatures lunge toward Pip, their gaping mouths wide. Fujimura screams, but she reacts too late. Massive jaws snap around them. Pip barely manages to twist away, axe drawn, slashing through incoming limb. Exhausted, Pip collapses beside Fujimura too. She's defended him non-stop, her strength slowly giving way to fatigue. As Pip tries to rise, a towering monster looms, lifting her effortlessly, eyes glowing with menace. Pip recalls Fuji's smile. That memory floods her mind as exhaustion threatens to shut everything down. Suddenly, Fuji charges from above, crashing into the ground with enough force to split the earth. Reassurance reaches her ears. Fuji, now stronger, calmly declares she no longer has to fight alone. Tears stream from Pip's face. She leaps forward, overwhelmed by relief, crashing into Fuji's open arm. Earlier, Fuji wandered alone. A mysterious voice awakened strength, unlocked new power without draining his energy. Nagani's transformation stabilizes. With enhanced strength, he decides to move toward the next battlefield immediately. Smoke and wings fill the sky. Meanwhile, exhausted defenders struggle to stand as enemies approach fast. An aerial strike lands violently. Eltico collapses midair, unable to hold back the overwhelming incoming force. Seeing Eltico down, allies prepare to defend. They urge the others to retreat while they stall. Despite protest, Shaga insists on staying. He believes the injured elf can still support the retreat. White wolves admit their past mistakes. Grateful, They vow to repay the humans by fighting now. Tears fall as the young girl watches them go. She silently hopes for their return. Fuji and his group arrive prepared. He warns them not to die meaningless deaths here. Pip declares her new role. Fuji takes charge, requesting the Baku Fuji and preparing for confrontation. Holding a rare bullet, Fuji explains its origin, created for emergencies with a never-before-seen core material. Fuji reveals the bullet's discovery was accidental. Others question why he never mentioned it sooner. The weapon's unstable nature is explained. Though powerful, it could destroy the gun or the user. Fuji refuses to hand it over. However, she insists, driven by something far more personal. She quietly reveals her dream. Becoming a hero has always been her purpose, no matter what. Backing down would shatter her spirit. Eyes firm, she begs for the chance to act. Fuji tosses the bullet to her. Confidently, he promises to handle whatever happens afterward. Overwhelmed with gratitude, she bursts into tears, finally feeling seen and trusted by her ally. Their team forms ranks. The monster looms ahead. Everything now rests on one precise, powerful shot. Fuji reassures her again. All eyes are on her now as she readies the weapon. The front lines charge forward. United and fearless, they launch the final assault to seize victory. She loads the bullet. Her heartbeat pounds. A strange energy surges through the weapon instantly. As the chamber locks in place, power bursts from the weapon, shaking her entire arm. The gun activates wildly. Even without firing, its force is overwhelming. She struggles to stay focused. While allies hold back the enemy, she takes position, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Memories flood her thoughts. She acknowledges the risk, yet her grip tightens, determined to see it through. She steels her nerve. Despite the danger, she accepts her fear and stands her ground. The enemy flower prepares to attack. Fuji signals readiness, encouraging her to act without hesitation. She fires the empowered shot. The weapon explodes with force, hitting the core with brutal precision. Allies brace behind her. Their faces reflect awe and trust, waiting to witness her decisive strike. The hero launched forward, slicing through the giant's arm, urging the girl to continue alone. Earth split violently beneath her feet. As ancient mechanisms began rising from the stone floor, tears faded. She smiled, shouted acceptance, and triggered the final attack with a thank you prayer. A storm of energy shot skyward, striking the flying beast with divine precision and devastating force. Her relic cracked apart, sacrifice complete, as she stood trembling amid falling debris and blinding light. A monstrous plant emerged from the demon's back, spiraling upward while she stared, stunned. Twisting violently, the tendrils launched skyward, aiming straight for the heavens like jagged thunderbolts. From behind, an ally revealed the bullet's unique function, seeking the nearest, most powerful demon. With devastating force, the projectile tore through the demon's body, unleashing countless precise explosions. As smoke cleared, she collapsed into his arm, whispering relief. Finally, the nightmare was over. He confirmed the mission's success. Demon Dragon Manga was now completely defeated and subdued. Relieved, she smiled through pain. Rising smoke carried away the last trace of the enemy's presence. Despite triumph, the hero remained quiet, astonished that she truly managed to overcome Manga's might. From above, a mysterious winged figure descended, cloaked in shadows and dripping with ominous sarcasm. The monstrous figure moved effortless. Gasps escaped the crowd as he summoned black claws from void. Dark tendrils slithered from his robe. She hesitated, watching a hidden blade shimmer silently nearby. Emerging from the shadows, the true monster towered, its full strength now finally unleashed. They stared in disbelief. The carnage came from merely one arm. He hadn't fought seriously yet. The skeletal beast issued a warning, flee now, but sacrifice every ally in the process. With scornful eyes, the hero declared judgment. Monsters like these demanded brutal and immediate discipline. Fujimura organized a vac and split the group, preparing to challenge the monstrous foe alone. He declared his intent. The enemy sought him, and he welcomed the confrontation without hesitation. Duty bound him forward. Quitting wasn't an option. Unfinished work haunted a true craftsman's conscience. With moonlight above, the villain smiled. Fujimura ascended, ready to face destruction for one final bout. Far below, allies watched anxiously, holding their breath as the crater shook with looming energy. Beneath a bright moon, the warrior faced the demon alone, bat raised, resolve unshaken. The demon warned him coldly, fight seriously, or lose everything. Village comrades, all wiped away, limits shattered in his mind. He considered unleashing the forbidden power, activating the feared fourth gate. Lightning crashed as his body transformed. Power surged violently. This was body hardening beyond human endurance. Grinning through blood, he roared his creed, ready to show true grit from another generation. Fujimura emerges from the explosion, facing monstrous enemies as Frawa silently pleads for his full strength. Leaping high with his crafted hammer, Fujimura targets the demon's blind spot for a decisive strike. The hammer cleaves through demonic wings, disrupting their formation before they can retaliate or defend themselves. One demon is instantly split in half, its expression frozen in shock as darkness swallows its core. Survivors acknowledge his unmatched precision, stunned by a craftsman whose weapon obeys technique over brute power. The demon regenerates rapidly, mocking Fujimura's precision. Fujimura reconsiders his method, analyzing the creature's core. The monster triggers a massive shockwave, absorbing Fujimura's energy. His attack appears completely ineffective. Frau and allies panic, blinded by debris. Fujimura's figure vanishes into the deep crater below. From smoke, Fujimura reemerges unscathed, calm, and bloodied. He earns the demon's shocked admiration. A greater demon appears above. It hints at hidden truths about their origin, challenging Fujimura's resolve. The demon reveals his unique evolution method, absorbing life forms to surpass natural limits through magic synthesis. He declares his intent to transcend all demons, seeking even godlike power through consumption. With a grotesque, mutated form, he rises, body reshaped by countless absorbed beings and forbidden rituals. Proclaiming divinity, the creature begins charging energy. Fujimura watches, alarmed by the impending scale. The self-proclaimed god launches an attack, warning Fujimura to witness the peak of demonic evolution. Fujimura evades a barrage of divine beam, barely understanding the terrifying scope of the god's assault. The god declares limitless potential, grabs Fujimura midair, and prepares for the next dimensional phase. Fujimura is pulled close, the monster's grip tightens, signaling a deadly phase of teleportation magic. The god's new form expands grotesquely, explaining a mass teleport spell to trap anything within reach. A massive arcane attack builds originally meant for the Demon King now aimed directly at Fujimura. The god unleashes the Black Blood Ball, a devastating sphere disrupting matter, magic, and reality. Furko and the others watch in horror as the world fractures, dissolving into spreading destruction. Across the horizon, demonic corruption spreads like wildfire. Frau's eyes widen, unable to look away. Fujimura lies motionless in the crater, weapon shattered. The god mocks humanity's final resistance. Frau screams and rushes forward. Fujimura's blood pools beneath, his body limp and silent. Fujimura recalls his past, a lost love, a broken family, and grief too heavy. Friends once close, now distant, his life filled with goodbyes, even his own fading self. Collapsed alone, he reflects, chasing dreams left no space for a normal, happy life. He admits regret and exhaustion. Even reborn, he kept repeating the same empty mistake. As his mind fades, Frau's voice pierces the void, crying out, desperate to reach. Fujimura's fingers twitch. He scolds himself, rising again, despite pain. The enemy still looming over. Thinking of those he'd leave behind, Fujimura rises, slamming through a portal to rejoin the battle. The enemy watches him return, bruised but unbroken, muttering in disbelief at Fujimura's persistence again. Trapped beneath steel and smoke, he faced death until a voice questioned Magic Stone's secrets. The voice explained the crystal's glow was only a hint of its deeper capability. Magic Stones held nature's raw forces: earth, sea, storm, magma, even dragons, each sealed in crystal form. These crystals were planet-born fragments, physical forms of the world's soul and elemental will. His unique eye could draw power directly. Magic Stones and his soul shared the same source. He was chosen by the planet itself, granted the ability to hear its living voice. Declared the Grand Dwarf, he was reincarnated to fulfill the planet's will and balance. With such power, he could reshape the world, even rewrite the laws of cause and effect. He remembered his one wish to prove his skills and be known as Earth's finest craftsman. Now reborn, surrounded by allies, he began his journey to shape destiny through creation itself. Despite divine power, he cared only for friends' safety and his duty as a craftsman. Impressed by his resolve, a higher being offered rare support power, granted for this one cause. With overwhelming strength unleashed, he stood ready to craft a future shaped by his technique. Smoke curled upward as he stepped forward, hammer in hand, the earth rumbling beneath him. Fully charged and determined, he invoked material creation, confident no force could oppose him anymore. Energy wrapped around him violently, forming a summoned construct shaped for destruction and protection alike. Before battle erupted, he asked, was the imprisoned Flame Princess still alive somewhere out there? The enemy confirmed that she was held in Azuma, deep inside the Demon King's fortress. Despite unleashing a monstrous final form, the enemy's threat was cut down without hesitation or mercy. Trapped in monstrous limbs, he calmly endured, eyes sharp, already planning how to strike back next. He accelerated time, rusted the enemy's iron shell, and left behind only brittle scrap remains. His allies arrived moments later, relieved to find him standing after such a punishing encounter. The White Wolves finally united, aided the battle, and watched over him during deep recovery. He awoke as a child again, confused and weak, immediately asking for his cigarettes back. Friends rushed in to embrace him, tears falling freely. The Grand Dwarf had survived again. While mourning the lost crystal, the group discussed possibilities of finding another lantern elsewhere soon. A mysterious elder revealed the truth: lantern crystals originated in Manga, his homeland of secret. Upon hearing Heavenly Gem Amaterasu, a new eavesdropper reacted with surprise and growing interest. Amaterasu, a legendary SS-class magic stone, could create unmatched weapons from mythical lantern light itself. With their path clear, they set sights on Fanga's dungeon Volcano, source of the legend. A sudden light burst above dense jungle warns of approaching conflict near the Black Lion tribe. The prince, fierce and eager, prepares to raid the dungeon resting in enemy Beastman land. Fujimura's disciple assures everyone their mission will succeed, relying entirely on his master's abilities. Conflicted but determined, Pip vows to improve, inspired by recent failure and loyalty to Fujimura. As the group departs, Pip watches quietly, silently promising to return stronger and more useful. Despite her brave front, Pip cried last night, desperate to follow them on the journey ahead. Fujimura insists she's safer at home, burdened by responsibility and unsure of the dangers ahead. As they walk away, guilt settles in. Pip's silence carries unspoken words he avoids hearing. Elder criticizes Fujimura's choice, believing Pip needs companionship more than a quiet, unfamiliar village life. Though understanding the risk, Pip refuses to be baggage. She wants purpose, not protection, in this quest. Tears stream down Pip's face as Al's voice demanded Fujimura trust those beside him. Fujimura sat alone, haunted by memory, reflecting on the pain of past responsibilities unshared. Lunomoa tugged her cloak gently, receiving quiet permission to chase after the one she admired. Hiding her face, Pip insisted she wouldn't burden Fujimura, despite longing to follow his path. Though shame overwhelmed her, Pip finally cried out her truth. She desperately wanted to be with him. Pip's sudden wail pierced the air, stunning everyone, her emotion too strong to contain anymore. Hearing her sobs, Lunomoa flinched, startled by raw grief and guilt weighing heavily on Pip's heart. Fujimura stood silently ahead, unaware of the emotional storm stirring behind him with each passing second. As memories and emotions surged, Pip relived every moment: joy, sorrow, and everything they'd survived together. Despite Pip's doubts, Fujimura reveals he watched her grow strong, and he's always been quietly proud. Fujimura confessed things weren't the same without Pip, his quiet apology catching her completely off guard, and he reached out his hand, offering a place by his side, full of trust. Tears welled in Pip's eyes as realization struck he never stopped wanting her there. Encouraged to follow her heart, Lunomoa received gentle permission to make her own reckless choices. Overwhelmed by emotion, Pip looked at Fujimura, and with trembling fingers, reached for his hand. Fujimura smiled softly, recalling Pip's laughter, meals shared, and all the moments that built trust. Pip remembered her mother's words, memories drifting like clouds of the father she never got to know. She saw her mother's warm eyes again, full of peace, answering her childhood questions gently. Flying into Fujimura's arms, Pip clung tightly, finally believing her mother's words about love and strength. Their tale moved everywhere. As clouds parted, a quiet wind carried hope across familiar skies. That day changed everything. Meeting him gave her hope and courage to chase impossible dreams. Their path brought many allies. Not all moments bright, but each step carved something unforgettable together. With everyone ready, Frau acknowledged the trials ahead, yet urged them to keep moving forward. Together, they marched not into fantasy, but into the beautiful, chaotic journey known simply as life. Grateful to Fujimura, Pip stood ready beside him, surrounded by comrades, future unfolding with purpose. Pip stood beneath the stars, recognized not as a child, but a proven, fearless hero.